Infowars.com.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, my head is spinning right now, like I know a lot of yours are, with so much news and information to cover. And we're going to attempt to go over every level of it. But there are obviously huge breaking news stories about Obama and secret deals with Iran. We've also got Obama not waiting on legislation. I've got a pen, and I can use it to sign executive orders. Very serious situation. We're going to be playing that video clip coming up as the world just gets crazier and crazier. Obviously, now the Federal Reserve is openly talking about hyperinflation being a good thing. That's the decision they've made to go with that while depressing the real economy, adding the icing of serious inflation. So you get the worst of both worlds. We're going to be looking at that. Also, the Kelly Thomas verdict. Cops now have license to murder. That story's up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. This is the son of a retired police officer who said he's ashamed that he was ever a police officer, who is schizophrenic and had no criminal record for anything serious. And they tell him to get up and, move and tell them who they are. And then they say, if you don't, we're going to hurt you real bad. And then they pin him down, 8 cops, and kill him. And, this is a 14-minute video. And I'm not going to play the whole thing today, but I just asked one of my crew to condense it down. Well, we've got a 4-minute clip of it, but just to show the beginning of the encounter, then what it goes through, then beating him in the head with flashlights till his whole face caved in. A jury has found that he died of an unknown heart condition 4 days after being in a coma at the hospital. And, of course, when you look at the 2 so-called police officers, they look like they could be Hollywood stars to play like evil minions of a goblin or something. If you look at the 2 police officers who were tried. And the jury, I think just out of fear and out of a spirit of toadying, found them not guilty. And it's a very, very dangerous type precedent when it's all on video. And before the video got released, the police lied about what had happened. And this guy, is obviously being slowly tortured to death. And you've got up to 8 cops sitting on him or taking turns, holding down each leg while they beat his head in. And keep saying, don't resist, don't resist. And then we had that article yesterday that I'm going to get back into, where a future cop says protesters should be exterminated in gas chambers. Anyone filming police should be killed and exterminated in gas chambers. Now the person is claiming that a friend used his Facebook account while at his home to post the threatening message. First, they said it was a hack, and the police distanced themselves from him, and now he's saying that. Look, whatever. The point is that we don't want a standing army of people looking for an excuse to use too much force and kill people. And let me tell you how history works. If the police keep acting like we're a foreign enemy and keep engaging in activity like this, the public is going to start treating you like an enemy. You have record low numbers of police being killed, by the way, with firearms right now. But there's this illusion by police that the public's out to get them. That's coming up as well. Huge news on the Fukushima front, Google front, John Kerry front. There is just so much going on. Hey, what about Defense Secretary Bloomberg? How's that sound? Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip. Hi folks, Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his 2-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this live Tuesday edition, already the 14th day of January 2014. There is so much to cover today, but looking at literally hundreds of news articles every single day, you see trends in the news. And all over the country, police are beating people up when they're off duty for no reason. They're shooting people in movie theaters who they get in arguments with. They're putting guns to people's heads for fun. They are killing their wives. It's getting bad because you take a bunch of soldiers, you teach them the public's their enemy, you militarize them, you put them on a bunch of steroids, you give them instinctive killing training, they're going to start killing people. And we've got a whole stack of news on that front that we're going to be going over in the 3rd hour today. I'm going to spend some time giving you the jury's verdict when they found the police that clearly beat Kelly Thomas to death out in California, and how the family and others responded, and then how that ties into police officer puts gun to boy's throat in McDonald's drive-thru, and other reports. Man shot dead at movies after texting by a cop who was there watching the movie. The list goes on. And I'm not saying the average police officer is somebody that wants to kill innocent people. What I am saying is the government itself is more and more above the law on warrantless spying, NSA garbage, persecution of the press, no-bid contracts, the court rulings that the Supreme Court ruled, we're going to cover this, that Monsanto can contaminate your field, your canola field that they're next door to, and that they can then send their agents, usually retired police or FBI, onto your property without a warrant to pull up 100 of your plants and then go test them. And a plant doesn't have one mommy and one daddy. It can be less than 1% Monsanto genetics, meaning their pollen blows across, it gets in there, and then any of their genetics is in there. By the way, over 98% of world corn varieties, last time I checked, and there's, by the way, thousands of them, ancient varieties. Mexico is probably where corn came from, the first cultivation. They've got several thousand varieties down there. They are all, 98% are infected, basically all of them. So you've got a multi-thousand-year-old corn variety. It's totally natural, but corn pollen blows through the atmosphere, like juniper pollen, you name it. It can blow thousands of miles. It goes into your plant. The Supreme Court ruled your property, everything is Monsanto's. This would be like if I patented my dog's droppings, and then I went and I put them on your living room table, and then I come in your house without a warrant, photograph the dog droppings on your dining table, and then I go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says, your house now belongs to Alex Jones because he went in your house and put dog droppings on your table. That is actually what this ruling says. That is the magnitude of the criminality. And so you're going to see that manifestation roll downhill. You're going to see the police, the bureaucrats, the government, totally above the law, total mafia. This is how tyrannies work. If you're going to want to get a zoning authorization, you're going to have to pay off the zoning inspectors, big time. And maybe they don't want money. Maybe they want your wife. You want to be in the theater, you're a great actress, you're going to have to service the local political officer, the local commissar. That's on record. That's how it works everywhere. Watch the true story, The Lives of Others, about the Stasi in East Germany. This is what it is to be a slave. And I've just got stacks of news here. The point is, it's overwhelming. It's totally and completely overwhelming. They've said it's key that youth sign on to Obamacare to make it fly. That means they need to con them into paying exorbitant prices for the services to keep the Ponzi scheme going. Iran's leader says they've had a great victory with their nuke deal on the West. Israel is freaking out. Obama supporter leading IRS probe visited the White House for 7 hours. So you have the supposed whitewasher investigator hanging out in private meetings with El Jefe. Isn't that just nice? So continuing here, we're going to continue looking at Obama nominates cop killer advocate to head DOJ Civil Rights Division. And I've studied the case of Abu Jamal, and I think he's rightfully in prison. But everybody gets into this cause celeb case on both sides. The bottom line is, it's like that Homeland Security head for procuring armaments said they're going to have a race war and kill all the whites and finally got fired after 6 months of pressure. This is the type of people they're putting in the DOJ is what I want to point out. All of you right-wingers that worship the police and think they can do no wrong, what's going to happen when they've got all the Marxist and socialist in charge, like they've got with Eric Holder, who is an anti-American terrorist, basically? You see, that's why you got to keep checks and balances on the government, just like with liberals. You love Obama spying and persecuting the Tea Party right now, and Christian groups with the NSA and the IRS. What's going to happen when a Republican gets in, bozo? What's the old nursery rhyme? Jack Sprat could eat no fat, and his wife could eat no lean. So between the two, they lick the platter clean. You all get into party politics, and there are some differences there in things, but in the final equation, the same special interests are funding both sides where they get the outcome they want either way. House Republicans introduced resolution to impeach Attorney General Holder. Notice that happened last year in November, now 2 months ago. No one ever really covered that. I mean, it got a little bit of coverage, but not the coverage it should have. That bill should have been passed. He should be impeached for all of the different things, where he takes all this lobbyist money, where the Fast and Furious, all of it. And it's only going to get worse. And, you know, my motto here is equal justice to all. Justice is blind, or you get a tyranny. And that's how it works. So when you don't get a conviction, and the DA over in L.A. literally, put his head in his hand and freaked out when they didn't convict these two so-called cops that beat this poor man to death. They tell him, we're going to hurt you. And they're sitting there flipping their billy clubs, and then they start beating him, and then he's begging him, and he begs, and only encourages him, and they kill him. And the jury, when you look at these two cops, I mean, if I was going to have central casting for total low-level killer thugs, if I was a Hollywood producer, I would hire these guys. These guys have a future in Hollywood if they want to play the part of just absolute bully little wimps. I mean, you look at them, they're little, they're weak, they're fat, and I'm not putting down little fat people. I'm a little overweight. The point is that you're not little and fat trying to go beat people up. There's nothing like a pack of wimps. Like if I see really big, mean-looking cops, I think, oh, they're probably not going to cause a problem. For whatever reason, people that are powerful don't want to abuse their power usually. Just that's the way it works. They're confident. They have too much pride. When I see a pack of weak-looking, socialist-style cops, I mean, I get concerned. I get really, really, really concerned when I see a pack of little, short-armed, short-legged wimps that are trying to act tough and trying to act evil. I immediately go, whoa, that's dangerous right there. Just like when I pull up at the gas station and see like 5 or 6 gangbanger thugs. I don't care if they're white meth heads or Mexican thugs or whatever they are, black thugs, doesn't matter. They're all the same. And you look at them, and the fact that they do look weak and stupid is why they're dangerous. They're dumb enough to kill you over nothing. And you see scum, you see trash, you know trash when you see it. And I look at these cops, and I look at the way they act and the way they behave. Find some photos of the cops. Just type in police officers charged in Kelly death, and you'll be able to find it. And later I'm going to put some videos together and stuff and cover this in the third hour and kind of go over it. But that's the issue here. By the way, you see this case right here? This is out of Business Insider. Confirmed, the DEA struck a deal with Mexico's most notorious drug cartel. And, of course, I followed this case in the federal courts, the actual documents. The drug cartel members that got arrested went into court and said, we work for the FBI and the CIA. We traffic the narcotics into the big banks. Let us go, or we're going to release all this info. And the FBI came in and confirmed with the judge, yes, national security sealed the court proceedings. That's all this is. With this drug kingpin, El Vicentillo, is that how you pronounce that? An investigation by El Universal found that between the years 2000 and 2012, the U.S. government had an arrangement with Mexico's Sinaloa drug cartel that allowed the organization to smuggle billions of dollars of drugs, while Sinaloa provided information on rival cartels. This was the CIA-backed cartel trying to wipe out its competition. No, El Universal didn't break this. Infowars.com wrote probably 25, 30 articles on this in the last 4 years, detailing everything right out of the federal docket. So we should re-flashback our articles on that subject and just point out that we told you this, we broke this, we exposed this. But now there it is. There it is. And because we exposed it, and the El Paso Times, they were involved as well. But their investigation was full scale, so no one's going to give it attention. That the government is running the drug cartels. We'll be right back.
If you're a baby boomer or senior, please listen closely to this important message. Politicians in Washington are quietly plotting to decrease your Social Security payments drastically, and they want to do it soon. In fact, despite rising prices at the gas pump, grocery store, and doctor's office, retirees have received a mere 1.3% annual increase to their Social Security checks. Meanwhile, food stamp recipients have seen their payouts increase over 30% under the Obama administration. That's shocking. So when we stumbled upon a weird trick that could add up to $1,000 to your monthly Social Security checks, we knew we had to share it with you. To get started, simply go to mybenefits311.com. Yes, it's true. You can take simple steps that could add up to $1,000 to your monthly Social Security payouts. Newsmax says mybenefits311.com is a critical resource for anyone over 50. Go to mybenefits311.com now. That's mybenefits311.com.
Hi, folks. Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his two-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
To thank you for being a loyal listener, we have a limited time freebie offer for you. Claim your free heirloom tomato seeds, just pay shipping, right now at 123freeseeds.com. These aren't ordinary seeds. These are heirloom, non-genetically modified super seeds that are open pollinated and can be grown, harvested, and replanted endlessly. These survival seeds are actually more valuable than gold in a crisis. Go to 123freeseeds.com and you can get an airtight storage packet of 150 super seeds free while supplies last to say thank you for being a loyal listener. First come, first served. Just cover shipping. Go to 123freeseeds.com now to see if your free heirloom seeds are still available. That's 123freeseeds.com.
That's the sound of a .44 Magnum and Trauma Max, a high-tech hybrid Kevlar bulletproof vest from InfidelBodyArmor.com. Will stop it and most pistol rounds. Trauma Max is a major breakthrough in pistol-rated body armor, and prices start at just $170 per insert. More protection, more stopping power, more mobility, and it weighs less than 5 pounds. Get details at InfidelBodyArmor.com. That's INFIDEL-BodyArmor.com.
You've heard about Numana, true American pioneers in healthy GMO-free storable foods. Great tasting meals with no MSG, soy, or chemical preservatives. No high fructose corn syrup or aspartame, and gluten-free options. Plus superior 25-year shelf life and good enough to eat now. But have you heard this? Numana is so confident in our quality and taste, we'll give you $50 just to try it out. Call 888-597-0775 or use coupon code RADIO at checkout. GMOfreefoodstorage.com. Numana, food storage you'll love to eat.
decade ago, the United States was in the top 3 best places to do business in the world. The Wall Street Journal is now reporting that we're not even in the top 10. And that's what globalism is. Can you imagine how valuable it was to special corporate interest with NAFTA, GATT, and then all these other globalist deals to sell off American infrastructure and to make deals with communist China and countless other authoritarian regimes to move our main production offshore? That was the first looting and the sellout of the country, and replacing it is paramilitary police, giant prisons that are basically the modern gulags. And by every metric, we are transferring ourselves from a free country to a very serious tyranny. And once you start falling on the list of free countries, we're also very low on the list of free countries now in major university studies. In fact, I think it was last year, a major university listed us the 7th most tyrannical government in the world. If you look at a whole bunch of different benchmarks, 7th most tyrannical government in the world. Saw that study last year. And we're definitely the most unhealthy in the world now after the Russians. They're a close first or second. No one really knows. It's by a nose. And we are under globalism, which is the modern name of Bolshevik revolution funded by the Rothschilds and others. And if you like tyranny, we'll get ready for more. Now, I said I'd mention this in the next hour, but if you're a TV viewer, I want to just show folks the photo. We did find it now of the 2 police officers that were charged with killing the homeless man in California. And the jury found them not guilty. And everybody's pretty freaked out because they kill him over really 20 minutes. We're going to play some of that audio and video in the next hour, condensed down to just him begging for his life and to them striking him over and over again as they sit on his arms and legs and feet and finally crushing his windpipe to shut him up, begging for air. And I guess they did give him mercy after a while. And this is a police officer's son. And that's what I've always said before this case even happened. Fate has a strange way of working. Police that do stuff like this, when you claim that you're in an honorable position and you abuse innocent people and you're a sadist, you better be a full sadist. Because your wives, your daughters, your sons are going to die of cancer early. They're going to die in car wrecks. And they're going to be killed by cops and other criminals. I mean, it's real, folks. You don't have to wait for judgment when you die. You get judged twice. And that's what God-fearing is. I don't want to do anything bad. A, I have a conscience and it doesn't feel good. B, when I even think about doing something bad to somebody who's done me wrong, I go, no, I don't want that coming back on me. I just let them do what they're going to do. I take the high road unless I'm cornered and have to defend myself, and then I do it as morally as I can. And my life has just gotten better and better since I fully embraced that. And I've always embraced that, but I've fully embraced forgiving my enemies. I have fully embraced understanding psychology. I have fully embraced understanding this. But you look at the photo of these cops that are going to go free now, and I'm telling you, you look in their eyes, and I remember watching them in the courthouse and in some of the court proceedings that were on television. They didn't have the whole trial televised, but I mean, you look at those eyes and you look at those faces. Those are Arrested Development men who feel incredibly weak inside and who, in a group of 8 people, want to find some weak homeless guy who doesn't even resist them and who panics out of fear. I mean, I'd run too if I saw a bunch of these cops walking up, flipping their nightsticks, and I'm sitting there in the cold doing nothing wrong. And it turned out he hadn't messed with cars. He had never stolen anything. He was a schizophrenic guy living on the street, and he was mentally ill, and he ran, and they killed him. And I'm telling you, police, if you don't decry this type of activity, if you don't cover this type of activity, if you don't go over this type of activity, if you don't say it's wrong, you're going to bring all this down on you and us. Just like it's now 56 million babies that have been aborted since 73. I keep saying 52 million. That's an old number. 56 million babies have been chopped up, plus. And we say they're not human. Well, now the government's going to say we're not human. You understand that? If we have no humanity, we go to living Hades. We'll be right back with huge amounts of news. Stay with us. You have found the New World Order zone.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support infusion blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table, and the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
Defending the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
Cowards and bullies should not be allowed to join the military or any police force. And historically, systems that were healthy knew how to identify scum and didn't want them around them because they will discredit the entire organization. Instead, most police departments in this country that are large are run by large gangs of cowards and scum and people that really enjoy abusing innocents and who are on power trips. Large gangs of trash have gotten control and are now recruiting more trash, and that's how you see the rot of a civilization. That's how you see societies convert from free societies to extremely nasty, rotten societies. And I'm done talking about that. In the third hour today, I do intend on playing about, 5-6 minutes of audio and video, audio for radio listeners, video for TV viewers, of the 20-minute torture beating that this particular individual went through, and he's now been found The police have now been found not guilty in the Kelly Thomas verdict. Cops now have license to murder. That's the prisonplanet.com, Infowars.com headlined article. This is carte blanche to police officers to do whatever they want, is the quote by some of the family and others. We're going to be going over that because it's so important. And then I'm going to open the phones up for police officers to call in. I don't care if you're retired or current, and to give us your take on this situation. Because if they get you in a total gang mentality where you can never say the police are wrong, cover your hind ends, our journey into absolute despotism and all that comes with it will be complete. We've got a lot of videos and audio we're going to be airing today. We have a new Mark Dice video that was on drudgereport.com last night. It's up on Infowars.com right now. Californians signed petition to allow soldiers to commandeer anyone's home or quarter troops. Brutal anti-Agenda 21 riots in neighborhood in Spain where they're bringing in all the carbon taxes to fully break the economy. Then again, we have Kelly Thomas video coming up, beaten to death by the police. Police officer puts gun to boy's throat in McDonald's drive-thru. We're going to do that in the third hour, again, tying it into this mania. And we're also going to get into the new supercomputers that can map the human brain and all the activities taking place in the brain. But, for me, really the big news of the day is the fact that Business Insider links to a major Mexican newspaper, El Universal. And, of course, really the newspaper down in South Texas, the El Paso Times, off of Infowars.com articles, did the research and found that of the 5 big drug cartels in Mexico, 3 of them are run by large U.S. global banks and the CIA and the FBI, and that they ship the drugs in and distribute them, and then even have deals to bust drug dealers 5-6 levels down. Of course, the drug dealer on the street doesn't even know the drugs were flown in on major bank aircraft like Wachovia or Wells Fargo. In a 2-year period, they flew in $378 billion, according to Bloomberg articles. So this is all out there. It's just that this illustrates how the whole thing works. And again, when you're dumb enough to use drugs because people give them to you in high school, and then 5 years later, you're a prostitute on the street to get your cocaine or heroin, all of that money gets laundered back through the banks. And so your daughter becomes a prostitute. You become a robber, I guess, that breaks in houses to get drugs. Or people that are on drugs, rob those they work for. And it just creates a total criminal culture. The drugs would be incredibly inexpensive and seen as the blight they are if Hollywood didn't make them sexy and if there wasn't big profits in them because of the black market. So it's simple. The big mafia, the big banks, made narcotics illegal at the end of Prohibition because they'd made their biggest profits ever when they got alcohol criminalized by manipulating the Christian lobby. That's all on record. So they could increase profits. Profits went up, 5,000%, some estimates are, on liquor profits. The police were corrupted. Everything was corrupted. And when that ended, the year after they made alcohol legal again, after that decade of Prohibition, they, in the early 30s, made narcotics illegal. You could buy cocaine, heroin, opium, speed, anything you wanted at the local drugstore. And you would go and your child would have a Coca-Cola with a scoop of ice cream that, had a large amount of cocaine in it. Maybe you'd have a Dr. Pepper, had some cocaine. And, your child would have some cocaine, and then they'd bounce off the walls. And then, you would have them come down. You'd give them some syrup, some cough syrup, some laudanum at night to make them calm down. Of course, you were taking drugs as well. But the point is, much lower level of people took drugs back then. And you can look at those statistics. But drug abuse was much, 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 much lower. Yeah, there it is. Cocaine toothache drops for children. If you just type in cocaine sold in drugstores, 15 cents for how many doses? You guys found a ton of stuff. What'd you type in to find that? Sears and Roebuck cocaine into Google search images, and that's what it brings up for you. And yeah, you could order via Sears and Roebuck, too, 50 cases of cocaine if you wanted to. And there was less drug use. But if you're ever out in the country, you got an old home place, and you're digging around, it's very valuable to do this. In fact, I should do it. I could make a lot of money doing it to help fund the operation. You could go dig into old junk piles in the countryside, and you will find thousands of laudanum, which is opium, and cocaine bottles, you name it. And you can read the old Coca-Cola labels, that says how much cocaine it had in it. But, of course, you tell a yuppie that Coca-Cola has cocaine or had cocaine in it. It has decaffeinated cocaine still in it. That's the, quote, mystery ingredient. It's not a mystery. It's denatured cocaine. That's the flavor of cocaine with sugar. And people are like, no, that's a conspiracy theory. No, it's called Coke. It's called Coke for a reason. I know people don't believe that. It's a wild conspiracy theory, but Coca-Cola is cocaine cola. It's like a cocaine sarsaparilla. Sarsaparilla is a root, like root beer. But the whole point is that this is the way it works. And they said, man, why are we letting all these little companies ship this in, and all these little drugstores and apothecaries? Why are we just make it illegal? We'll ship it right into the kids. We'll have anti-drug programs to teach the kids how to use it, and we will take this country over. And they did it, and great job. And by the way, you had more than 15 drug cartels in Mexico just a decade ago. We had Celia Castillo on, retired DEA agent, Vietnam veteran, former Border Patrol agent before that. He was Vietnam, Border Patrol, then DEA. And he said, no, they're funding Sinaloa and Los Zetas to actually take out the other 10 groups, and then they're going to have them take each other out. And they've offered for me to be trained, to train with U.S. military at King Ranch, the paramilitaries to go start the war. Mexico's going to collapse. He said this on my show 7 years ago. We had video then, simulcast. Those videos are online. And then it all broke loose. We broke it on this show on record. And I don't even like breaking stuff. I'd rather it be in the news and then cover it because it's less dangerous for us. By the way, they came and set him up with guns and put him in prison for that. For selling his neighbor a shotgun. The state police with the ATF came and got him. Because you're not going to cut in on the drugs. So that's what's going on. And there's a New York Times headline from 2011. DEA launders Mexican profits of drug cartels. Yeah, the DEA is listening to all your phones, your email, everything on record. This has now been released 3 months ago, but we already knew this, to find out who's shipping in drugs that isn't authorized by the big banks that own the country through fraud. And now it's come out that and then when they want to go set you up, anything, they will then create fake cases to do it and go lie to the court how they got evidence. So that's how it works, folks. When you become a drug enforcement agency person, unless you're a total idiot on what they call the white side of things that pushes paper and busts low-level people, they're all sitting in the back office laughing at you. They are all drug dealers. I mean, basically, the intel I've got from high-level sources is a couple of years ago, we passed the line of more than half the FBI are now corrupt, more than half the DEA, and they're all the top half. And they literally make jokes and laugh all day at all of the people that aren't corrupt. It's a huge joke. Just like with Frank Serpico talking about how it was a big joke that he wouldn't take money. And he was the only cop in the narcotics, entire New York narcotics. I had him on the show. The only one that didn't take drug money, that didn't, and by the way, the reason Serpico wouldn't do this was he was a moral guy. Plus, he saw the rackets that it was involved in child trafficking, everything else. And he said to him, he goes, this isn't just drugs, guys. Because he's more of a liberal. He's for decriminalization. He said, this stuff is connected to everything. I'm not going to be part of this. I'm not going to be part of, and so they shot him in the face. And it is the incredible naivete of the general public, the off-the-chart naivete that allows this to continue to go on. I mean, just stop being naive. I mean, I've probably walked over to 100 tables of police all over the country and in England and other places and said, hey, you guys know the big banks launder all the drug money? They'll go, yeah, we do. Well, why don't you do something about that? Hey, man, they just tell us what we can do. You need to go change that in Congress, Alex. A lot of times they know who I am. And I'm like, but you still stop me at a checkpoint and ask if I got drugs. Yeah, we just do what we're told. And if you don't mind, we're having a conversation here, buddy. That's how they act. Yeah, we know government deals with drugs now. I'm eating my lunch. Leave me alone. But then when they pull you over, got any drugs in here? What's going on in here? I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. That's all I'm saying. Hey, you're eating your lunch, leave you alone? How about you leave me alone driving down the road? How about you stop acting like I did something? That's what I'm talking about. How about you stop finding teenagers with drugs and then throwing them in prison where real criminals get them, and then under pressure, those teenagers become hardened criminals. The system's a fraud. We got the biggest prison population in the world. It's all designed to destroy us and corrupt us. And that's what I'm saying. And the whole thing's a stinking fraud, and everybody knows it, and I'm tired of it. Now, who doesn't know it is good old boys out in the countryside. They know they love guns. They know they love Jesus. They love freedom. They love George Washington. They're the best people, but the worst people. My magazine got distributed in Northeast Texas where I got family. And I got phone calls and stuff, and they said, and these are smart people, but they said, Alex, the community's proud of you, but they're talking. You're promoting marijuana in your magazine. Because we had a sponsor with hemp soap and hemp powder that has 0 THC. There's hundreds of varieties of hemp. Only a few have THC in them. Totally legal. And I said to him, I said, yeah, but do you understand that's what they make rope out of? Makes better cotton than cotton. I mean, do you understand it's one of the most amazing plants out there on record medically? And they go, yeah, but it's marijuana. No, it's not. So, see, they think marijuana is so bad that even if it's the type that doesn't have any THC in it, it'd be like if you were drinking Buckler non-alcoholic beer, that for long periods when I don't drink any, you know, I'm out with friends, I'll drink one of those because I like to taste a beer. That's like saying you're bad drinking Buckler. But you're not even smoking this stuff. This is soap, and this is hemp powder, protein, really good for your heart. They're like, we know that, but it just looks bad. See, they think, oh, dirty drugs. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh, marijuana. Oh, my gosh, that's what the Mexicans smoke. That's how they sold it. It was called hemp before, but they used not even racism, but just people didn't know the name when they got marijuana made felony in the 30s. They ran news videos or newsreels before movies of where people smoke, you know, Westerns, where you smoke one hit off marijuana and a bunch of crazy Mexicans then kill the whole town. They go, from Mexico, and the Mexicans, marijuana. And then they would have other ones where like crazy midgets murder everybody. I'm not kidding. These are the movies they made. And Reefer Madness, where you smoke it and you murder everybody. And so they banned hemp growing in this country when we were the #1 hemp producers in the world. Better than cotton, better for sales, better for rope. And no THC, they even banned that. And the churches said, burn it, burn it. And people were arrested that kept growing hemp. George Washington grew hemp. He grew the type that got you high. In fact, I've read the accounts. George Washington, when he had toothaches, his doctor said, go to the apothecary and get yourself the toothache hemp. They call it toothache or stomach hemp. Because if you had a toothache or you had a stomach ache, they told you, get this in your pipe and draw it into your lungs. That'll help with the stomach ache. But see, this is how ignorant we are now. George Washington, when he had a toothache, would load up his tobacco pipe and smoke THC. By the way, I don't like it and I don't use it. My point is we've got the banks laundering the drugs, running the drugs, controlling the drugs. They hate marijuana because that's something you can grow, so they don't control that. And that's why there's a war on marijuana, because that's the only thing the drug dealers don't control. And they want to control it and ship it in out of Latin America and make the profit off that too. And here it is in the New York Times and the El Paso Times and El Universal and Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. What all came out in court is that they were doing it all for the U.S. government, and the leader of the cartel was a CIA asset. And you're like, well, why did this even come out? Because one group of the government that wasn't corrupt ended up busting him. The whole government's not bad. But let me tell you what happens to FBI agents and DEA agents that don't play ball. Just like Serpico, they kill them, or they audit them, or they set them up, or they cheat on their wife and they blackmail them, or they simply call them up. They come right into their offices. I've interviewed them here, and they say, listen, how are your kids doing? Well, they're doing all right. Yeah, Jimmy and you know, Carol, your little daughter, yes, she's doing pretty good. She was at basketball the other day. Yeah, I wonder if she's going to, it'd be sorry if something happened to her, you know. Man, she's got a big life ahead of her. And I've talked to cops, FBI, DEA, federal marshals, Secret Service. They'll say, what do you mean? And they'll say, you know what I mean. Kids die sometimes. Sometimes they get kidnapped first, though, and raped and tortured. Man, I don't want anything to happen to your daughter or your son. And sometimes the guys get up and go, I'll kick your ass. And they'll go, really? We saw who dropped your daughter off today. Go ahead and kick my ass. We're going to kill your daughter. You got that straight? Now you keep your mouth shut. Is that clear? Keep your mouth shut or we're going to shoot you in the face like Serpico. We'll be right back. Grow up, America. Stop being naive. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
By now, you may know that a Bitcoin is the first decentralized currency that's easily transferred from person to person over the internet. No bank needed. This means lower fees and accounts can never be frozen, limited, or closed. Plus, a large number of businesses and merchants already accept Bitcoins, and Bitcoins are easily exchanged for dollars, euros, and more. If you're interested in making money in the Bitcoin market right away, and by right away we mean start making money today, please visit us at cloudhashing.com. Cloudhashing.com is one of the fastest growing Bitcoin miners in the world, delivering the highest profits to people just like you. To get started, join us at cloudhashing.com and you will start mining Bitcoins right away and get paid daily. You heard correctly. You will receive payments every single day. And the best part, you do not need a computer or need any experience in mining Bitcoins. It's perfect for everyone. Learn more at cloudhashing.com. Just like it sounds, cloudhashing.com. Start making money today at cloudhashing.com.
Nobel Prize winner Alexis Carrel, cell biology researcher, discovered a detoxified and nourished cell lives in a state of eternal youth. Clean cells will result in improved energy, mood, blood sugar, liver function, and skin health. Also, you can lose fat and keep or gain muscle and reduce or eliminate inflammation and more. To discover how to detoxify and nourish the 100 trillion cells of your body, call this free recorded message at 866-844-1047. That's 866-844-1047.
New year, new website, new ways to protect your health and privacy. To thank you for our recent success, BlockItPocket.com is extending our holiday offers. See these new, get one free New Year deals only at BlockItPocket.com and only through January 31st. Enhance cell phone and wireless device safety and security with products that work from a family-owned American business. Call or click 888-315-9618 or BlockItPocket.com, your source for wireless protection and information.
Everybody understands that all the narcotics that are illegal today were sold over the counter. until the 1930s when they got rid of Prohibition. They needed a new racket. And, you know, I pointed out that you can go out to any farmstead or area and dig into the soil and find all those collectible bottles that are worth hundreds of dollars a piece in some cases, not because there's drugs in them, there's dirt in them, but because they are a collectible. Just a little side issue. But here it is, confirmed, the DEA struck a deal. They call it a deal. No, they set these cartels up with Mexico's most notorious drug cartel to let them ship in billions of dollars of drugs for information provided on cartels. Yes, because they were their army to go in and control it. Sinaloa, led by El Chapo, Guzman supplied 80% of the drugs entering the Chicago area and has a presence in cities across the U.S. Yeah, Chicago is one of the main distribution hubs anywhere. The trains, the planes, they all come in. The police are on the take, and that's why they use Chicago as their narcotics trafficking command base. Miami, Houston, Los Angeles. I mean, it's just incredible. The Border Patrol, the DEA, they're all there to stop small-time operators from driving down the prices. Just like the FDA is there to make sure nobody can sell vitamins and minerals that could actually help people so that only Big Pharma has control of the racket. It's all about monopolies and turf with the New World Order. And the NSA is there to give the global mafia the intel it needs to dominate society. Excuse me. Now, that said, ladies and gentlemen, coming up in the next hour, the nanny Secretary of Defense, soldiers came this close to having their personal lives micromanaged by the social engineer of the Big Apple. We got to write an article about this. What a nightmare scenario. The anti-gun guy that says guns should be confiscated at gunpoint in control of the armed forces, Mayor Bloomberg. Robert Gates put out a statement that he would have hired Michael Bloomberg as possible replacement as Secretary of Defense, and Bloomberg is now being looked at down the road for that. The guy that tried to use New York City and his billions of dollars from Wall Street scams to then go after the rest of the country, the states and cities, and ban our guns by fiat. He wants control of the military. It doesn't matter. Globalists like him are already in control of the military. It's just they're going to make it official. It's going to be totally official with the Federal Reserve, and all these major posts are run by open anti-gun New World Order globalists. A lot of them from Israel and places like France and England. I mean, our country is run by foreigners, foreign technicians that will come in and do whatever they're told at any time. So that's just some of the news that is coming up. We're also going to look at some moves by Congress to supposedly rein in the NSA. That's really a whitewash, but that's coming up. We're going to look at this deal with Iran that's got a lot of people pretty freaked out. We're also going to look more at that Wall Street Journal article dealing with the U.S. being a horrible place to do business, from being rated the best place to do business, now one of the worst places to do business. And we're also going to look at some of the big developments with Google. That is all coming up. But don't worry, Obama has hired one of his personal friends to a big Democrat to run the IRS investigation, and criminal charges not expected in IRS probe. Really? Criminal charges aren't expected of the mafia murdering, child trafficking government? Really? Really?
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive Infowars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poison
thousands with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the info war at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We are now into hour number 2. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we've got an interesting pro-gun advocate popping in on the broadcast. We have some other Second Amendment news that we're going to be going over today as well. But getting into the news right now on the Obamacare front, youth participation low in early Obamacare enrollment. And now it's coming out, like I told you months ago, most people that think they enrolled didn't really enroll. They go in and they're not enrolled in anything. So, again, the people that think that they've enrolled, they know the mentality of the public. People that think a lottery ticket's going to win, they're going to go to the casino and win. They know that mentality, and that's what they target. And so all it is the insurance companies being able to increase prices. That's all this is, period. That's all it is, and it allows the government to lower the quality of care and carry out eugenics. 79% of Obamacare enrollees qualify for subsidies. 79% of those enrolled need subsidies because they cannot otherwise afford the premiums they have, in some cases nearly doubled. So if you fully go on welfare and Medicare and Medicaid, then you're okay. But if you try to actually still keep a job and stuff, it's forced to make you go bankrupt and go on the welfare rolls ahead of accelerating the full collapse. But then if you try to live in your own house that you work for your whole life, they're going to raise property taxes and stuff until you have to lose the house. And if you don't leave the house that's even paid for, a SWAT team will come and will murder you. So, good. They like to kill people. I think they should. I mean, that's what makes them feel manly. Spanish language Obamacare website is written in Spanglish, so no one can understand it, basically, and the code doesn't even work. Well, of course, it's all just fraud. And another big Democratic National Committee donor has gotten the new contract to redo the last scam. So see how they get more money by scamming you? More money by failing at Katrina? More money every time they screw up? Because no one ever gets held accountable. There's another story here out of the Daily Caller about how a disabled family lost its health coverage and it's Obamacare's fault. Well, of course it is. And now the insurance companies are bragging publicly that they're going to have huge profits off Obamacare. Well, of course, they wrote it. But there's nothing like watching them publicly brag about the entire situation. And Obamacare approval drops to an all-time low in Gallup. So now only 38% in this whitewash poll believe that it's a good deal. And boy, how much you want to bet that 38% are dumber than a box of rocks. I love how so-called liberals are always like how they're smart, and their radio shows and TV shows are all about how they're smart and everyone else is dumb. And it's like they think they've arrived just because they do whatever the Democratic Party says. But the Democratic Party is an incredible mafia organization that when it comes to true criminal thuggishness is light years worse than the Republican Party. Republicans are a bunch of establishment blue blood lawyers that know how to game the whole system but keeping their hands clean most of the time. The Democrats are street-level criminals that have taken over and work for foreign offshore banks. And when you just look at how gullible their followers are, it is really a shame to watch what schmucks they are, for lack of a better pejorative. More embarrassment for Obamacare. His new website for Hispanics, again, is written in Spanglish, and people are unable to sign up. You can't sign up anyways. It's just a total, complete fraud. Here's a couple of economic articles that are up on Infowars.com. Will we be told hyperinflation is necessary, proper, patriotic, and ethical? And the answer is yes, that's what's being promoted now. We're going to get into the Iran deal, get into some big Supreme Court rulings, and cover the latest on identity thieves gear up to steal your tax refund. No, we're not talking about Obamacare. We're talking about the other identity thieves out there. And the latest on Fukushima, Google, Chris Christie, and some really amazing videos. My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only 2 ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of nascent iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Nascent iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality nascent iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Alex Jones here with a message to fellow freedom lovers. The prognosis for the entire planetary economic system runs from bad to worse. The globalist model is to shut down societies and starve patriots out until they acquiesce to the global takeover. That's why we've assembled the most vital and important preparedness items at InfoWarsShop.com. These are items that I did research on, that I personally use. We've got the Life Straw, so you can turn fetid water into safe water anywhere you go. The K-Tor hand crank generator to charge up key equipment during power outages or out in the field. Strategic Relocation, 3rd edition by Joel Skousen. When Disaster Strikes by Matthew Stein. ThyroSafe, used by Homeland Security to protect yourself during any radiological event. Hand crank shortwave AM/FM radios. Everything that we've researched and found to be the best is available at InfoWarsShop.com, and your purchase makes our InfoWar possible. We're getting prepared. Are you? InfoWarsShop.com. Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support infusion blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming up, we've got video of Obama saying, I've got a pen and I can use it to sign executive orders. I'm not waiting on legislation. That is bombshell information. The news websites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Court deals blow to anonymity and First Amendment. Ruling runs counter to tradition of anonymous speech in the United States. It's also part of a new web ID system. We're going to be breaking that down. It's up on Infowars.com. Scientists to monitor California kelp forest for Fukushima radiation. They're now reporting massive increases of 24 times safe levels of radiation in fish caught off the coast of Japan. Kelly Thomas verdict, how cops now have a license to murder the homeless man they beat to death over 20 minutes. We've got a report on that at the start of the next hour. Also, we are now going to continue our reportage for about 10 minutes in the third hour as well from the West Coast on Fukushima radiation. And then a really important article by Michael Schneider up on Infowars.com. What should be done to a country that kills 56 million of its own people? Do you know how many babies have been murdered in America since 1973? And if you want to know why our country's in so much trouble, a lot of people think they're not humans. Well, the globalists don't think you're a human or have rights as well. So you, at a base level, make these type of determinations. There is nothing to underpin the society anymore once that happens. Now, continuing here with the news, this is really outrageous, dealing with Obama, and it's a Kit Daniels article up on Infowars.com. Obama supporter leading IRS probe visited White House for 7 hours. The White House visitor records show that the head of the criminal probe into the IRS targeting of Tea Party groups, serious political persecution, visited President Obama in 2009 after receiving an unusual invitation from the White House. According to the records, the White House staffer with the Office of Public Engagement requested the Justice Department attorney Barbara K. Bosserman come October 28th, 2009 to a hate crimes event at Obama's guest as a visit ultimately lasted over 7 hours behind closed doors. And folks, again, when you hear about hate crimes, that means restricting free speech. Like now you've got a disability group slamming the Wolf of Wall Street because they reenacted throwing the height-impaired people, or midgets, at a dartboard. Well, that really happened. Can you not show Nazis shooting people because it's hurtful? That really happened. No, they want to selectively decide what and can't be seen so that they can control speech. That is what is going on that front. A really important article that I wanted to break down here. Supreme Court hands Monsanto victory over farmers on GMO seed patents' ability to sue. The U.S. Supreme Court upheld biotech giant Monsanto's claims on genetically engineered seed patents and the company's ability to sue farmers whose fields are inadvertently contaminated with Monsanto materials. And this is a really big deal because I followed these cases. I've interviewed Percy Smizer from Canada. I've interviewed families that are involved in this suit from Kansas and North Dakota. And in corn cases, in canola cases, in soybean cases, going back over 15 years, we followed the last 4 or 5 big cases. They would send in retired FBI agents or cops without warrants on people's fields to pick sometimes 100 plants. They would take them back and test them for their genetics. And if they found any of their genetics, less than 1%, because again, plants don't have one mommy or one daddy. The pollen blows in, and so the plant can have hundreds and hundreds of different genetics from different corn plants around it contributing to it. And you can show your seed records that you bought it. You bought your seed from somebody else. It wasn't Monsanto seed. You can show you never bought Monsanto seed. You can show that their seed got into your field, that they contaminated you, that their pollen got into your field. And the courts that are totally bought off by Monsanto, the federal regulators, the head of the FDA, the head lawyer, they're all former Monsanto alumni. They do a revolving door, 4 to 8 years in government, 4 to 8 years in Monsanto. A few more years back in government, back in Monsanto. And they do this revolving door over and over again. And the federal courts, they'll have the federal judge's wife will work for Monsanto and they won't even be recused. Or the federal judge that rules for them, their son will be hired right out of Harvard at $1 million a year to work for. I mean, this is how they operate. And they said this would be like if I had a plant, a smelting plant, a gold smelting plant. And my cyanide ran off the mountaintop that they used to leach out the gold out of ore. These are real cases, by the way. And ran into your fields down below. And the coffee workers picking coffee got sick and died. And you got sued because your coffee you later found had cyanide in it. And you lose your farm. Monsanto, if they were the gold company, the gold mining company, they would come and sue you for their cyanide coming onto your property, and the court would rule that even though they contaminated you, that you had patent infringed on their cyanide. That's like people that go to get a breast test treatment that should cost $500. It costs $100,000 because the company said, well, we patented that gene for breast cancer. But that's your gene. Doesn't matter. In fact, they didn't even really patent the gene because if they can just map it, they claim they know it. It's like having a photo of a saber-toothed tiger. You don't actually have a saber-toothed tiger. And they now admit that they haven't mapped anything, folks. They've taken a photo of it. They basically know it's makeup. They call the other 96% junk. It's not junk. It is the saber-toothed tiger, not the photo of the saber-toothed tiger. It is the blue whale, not the photo of the blue whale, to actually truly understand the genetics. That's why they can change one genetic of something, a trait, and get what they want, make a tomato last longer. But then down the road, it starts mutating. And then you get something completely different, and other things change. That's why they aren't able to control what they're doing, and it's very, very dangerous. But this is a separate issue of where they contaminate you, and then it'd be like if your neighbor had a bunch of depleted uranium in their backyard, and then you came down with leukemia, and they went and tested your blood, and it was because of DU, and they went, oh, you stole my DU? You're like, no, your DU blew over the fence, and I should sue you. No, no, no. You owe me. And this is the complete overturning of justice, ladies and gentlemen. The High Court left intact Monday a federal appeals court decision that threw out a 2011 lawsuit from the Organic Seed Growers and Trade Association and over 80 other plaintiffs against Monsanto that sought to challenge the agrochemical companies' aggressive claims on patents of genetically modified seeds. The suit also aimed to curb Monsanto from suing anyone whose field is contaminated by such seeds. So this wasn't some ambulance-chasing operation here by a trade federation to go after Monsanto and get something. This was people banding together to stop Monsanto winning thousands of lawsuits a year in the U.S. alone, but also in Europe and Canada, where, I mean, I've covered the cases here. I'm not kidding. They contaminate your field. You've got proof that it's genetic pollution, that it's only 1% or less, their genetics, that their pollen blew over, and that they've contaminated you. There have been cases where a canola farmer had canola growing in the ditch of their property a half mile away from their fields, and that it was Monsanto seeds that had gotten into the ditch of their property and were growing, and that they had all their records and weren't growing Monsanto crops, and then the court ruled that they had infringed because Monsanto seeds had gotten into the ditches. And farmers believe Monsanto is running around planting them in the ditches. And I believe that too, because they've been caught in Brazil and Poland and France and a bunch of other places, look it up, illegally planting what they call invasion plots, where they argue that if they've already infected a region, so what now? In fact, that's their argument even in an article I saw over a decade ago in, what's that publication? National Geographic. They had one of the Monsanto executives saying, look, we're soon going to have our genetics in anything anyways from pollen. You're not going to be able to escape us, so just accept it. And they said that's their goal, to basically rewrite all the genetics so there's not even a choice, so you can't get away from it. So that's a major issue. We've got China continuing to threaten to invade islands of the Philippines, and they've developed a new high-speed missile to defeat U.S. defenses. We've got a bunch of news with, again, Obama saying he's not just waiting for legislation. I've got a pen and I can use it to sign executive orders. This is a dictatorship. Doesn't mean he won't leave office, but they've made the office a dictatorship now. That's what the power structure wants. So that video is coming up. And then we're going to get into a Mark Dice video. California signs petition allowing U.S. troops to commandeer their homes. We're going to be breaking all of that down. But when we come back from break, I've seen this woman's videos, Josie Wales. I wonder if that's really her name. It's a cool name if it is. Or is it is it a nom de plume? a pen name. She's going to be joining us. JosieTheOutlaw.com is her website. She has YouTube videos where she defends the Second Amendment eloquently. And it's this type of action by just regular folks becoming media personalities that will fully overthrow the dinosaur media. That's why at least once a week we spotlight activists out there like this woman and like people like Mark Dice and countless others. We're here as a platform to try to promote people to a wider audience.
Get the ultimate knife at the ultimate price. The Fox Karambit knife. Finally available in the U.S. The Fox Karambit knife opens with one hand faster than you can pull a handgun. For utility, for defense, and for way less than other knives of this caliber. Go to theultimateknife.com. Truly the best knife you will ever own. And only available at theultimateknife.com. Use promo code radio at checkout for free shipping. Get the ultimate knife at the ultimate price at theultimateknife.com.
Do you know about the NSA loophole? Or maybe you think your law-abiding ways are too boring for them to care about you. Tell that to the Virginia farmer who was audited by the IRS because of her Tea Party activities. Or the Texas man who woke up to a SWAT team raid because of online comments he had made about his gun collection. No, God-fearing Americans like you are in the crosshairs. Learn how to drop off the government's radar and get off the grid at privacylockdown.com. That's privacylockdown.com.
Great news, pure water lovers. BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com has a special discount offer for all GCN listeners. You can't do better than a Big Berkey for economy. For only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. There's none better than a Big Berkey for emergency preparedness as a backup water source. And you just can't beat a Big Berkey to remove dangerous chlorine, all types of fluoride, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, parasites, and unhealthy byproducts from municipal water. Berkey water filter systems are even powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. For the gold standard in water filters, get a Big Berkey at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And all GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. For details, call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Ladies and gentlemen, America is more dangerous than ever, with 9 million property crimes last year. Crimes are happening every day. Be proactive and protect your home and family. Simply Safe Home Security System helps guard against criminals, thugs, and thieves. Listen, Simply Safe is the absolute best alarm system and company in America today. Here's why. We offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. It's affordable, no contracts to sign, and is built with the latest wireless technology. Simply Safe protects the ones you love the most, even if a criminal cuts your power and phone lines. When you order today, you'll receive a 10% discount along with a free keychain remote. Don't wait. This offer is only valid through January 31st. Take advantage of this special discount offer at GetSimplySafe.com. That's GetSimplySafe.com. Protect your home and family now at GetSimplySafe.com.
Hi, folks. Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his 2-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
I hear the train a-comin', it's rolling around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But that train...
All right, when Josie Wales, female Second Amendment activist, leaves us in about 20 minutes or so. I'll get into the video that's really our top story today. Obama's saying we're not just waiting for legislation. I've got a pen and I can use it to sign executive orders. He is becoming a dictator. And it's not just Bloomberg they're looking at to be a new Secretary of Defense. It's also Hillary Clinton. I mean, what a nightmare coming after our guns when the Pentagon's openly being trained that their new mission in the 21st century will be crushing the Tea Party. That's Forbes, that's Washington Times, that's Associated Press. This is treason, ladies and gentlemen. So Josie Wales joins us, and I like to get activists on who are receiving, hundreds of thousands, millions of views on YouTube as an example for other young men, young women, old men, old women, black, white, Hispanic, I don't care, to go out and to have their voice be heard and speak out against tyranny. And that's how we're going to turn the tide. And there was a big headline yesterday in the Financial Times of London that libertarians, not just in the U.S. but worldwide, are the dominant group and are growing fast. We're not liberals, we're not conservatives, we're libertarians, we're Thomas Jefferson constitutionalists, and we are the future. And so I salute her for her great shooting videos and what she's breaking down, how she challenges the police. And she says, what side are you on? Will you confiscate guns? I mean, she's really having an effect. So, Josie, it's good to have you on via Skype with us.
Thank you for having me, Alex.
So tell us about yourself, where you live, what you do, and how long you've been doing this, and then get into the Second Amendment and your stance on it. Because, again, it's a 1-2 punch. We need to all be heard, but also realize that being heard and taking action is the key. Because if more people watching and listening right now do what you've done, we will win.
I absolutely believe that. To answer your first questions, I'm from the East Coast. I'm originally from Philadelphia, and what I do is I've been doing this for. I mean, I've been aware and awake for years. I mean, ever since I was a little girl. I first marched on DC when I was about 4 years old. I did a lot of reading. I went through the Catholic schooling and this and that, and I had a lot of authoritarian, indoctrination to undo. But I did that, through reading, and I've been extremely heavily involved with the Philadelphia activist community for the past year. I've always had my finger on the pulse of, I don't want to say politics, it's more anti-politics and what's going on for the last 17 years. But it's only the last 5 years that I've really, done a lot of research in the last year that I've been heavily involved. Now, I actually don't consider myself a constitutionalist.
Sure. I was talking about the whole liberty movement. You consider yourself more of an anarchist, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I don't like to label myself, but I don't, I'm
sure. I'm saying a small government movement is rising.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we started working on the videos about 4 months ago, maybe, and they've been out for about a month and a half.
Well, that's exciting, and we want to give you a boost here because, again, I know that if we get everyone to become activists, even in small ways, it's going to change the world. Talk about your view of the Second Amendment, where you see the battle for liberty right now.
Okay, well, the Second Amendment, I think, is a great guideline. It's a nice jumping point for people who, the Founding Fathers had some really great ideas when it came to preserving our liberty, and the Constitution was put, I'd like to believe it was put in place to serve as a check against tyranny. So as far as the Second Amendment is concerned, although I don't, like I said, I don't really totally agree with the Constitution as it is. I don't need, we don't need a piece of paper to tell us what's right and wrong. However, I absolutely support the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, Second Amendment. I think it's a great guideline. And I will do anything I can to preserve that for myself and preserve it and help others to understand how important it is for them to preserve it. Not just for themselves, but their own, their family, their friends, for everyone.
All right, Josie Wales, stay there. We've talked about your political views and ideas. I want to talk about the Second Amendment and where you see that fight going. And of course, I'm not here to debate. There's all the purists, the anarchists, the anarchic capitalists out there who say, get rid of it all now. My only issue is stop the globalists, stop the collectivist. As a general rule, promote individual liberty. Whether we're conservatives, libertarians, constitutionalists, anarchists, you got the leftist anarchists, they're really just communists, call themselves anarchists. We've all got to realize that big government is slavery, big corporations controlling government are slavery. We'll be right back.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive Infowars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the Info War at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Hi folks, Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his 2-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
I was trained in firearms. I carried a concealed weapon. I made the determination that if somebody was going to try to take me out, I was going to take them with me. If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it.
Defending the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
Josie Wales is our guest. I'm your host, Alex Jones. We're going back to her here in just a moment. By the way, I have a whole giant stack of health news that just came out in the last few days about coffee. Caffeine may boost long-term memory. That's a new report out of Medical News Today. Coffee's health benefits increases blood lipids that And it just goes on from there. A cup of coffee in the morning may pack more than just an energy boost. Again, there's all these reports. Obviously, too much coffee is bad for you. But I have my favorite coffee, ladies and gentlemen, and that is grown in the high mountains of southern Mexico, right on the Guatemala border, in the organic soils, the volcanic soils, 100% organic, certified. My favorite medium blend of coffee, and we found direct connections to the Chiapas farmers and buy directly from them, bring it up to Colorado, roast it here in the United States, and then ship it out to you worldwide. It's very fairly priced. Similar coffees for sales for 40% to 100% more. And we've also got the immune support boost blend that has the key type of mushrooms infused into it that's known to increase your immune system. Very important to do that, obviously, during the winter. And your purchase of the product makes the broadcast possible as well. So, again, you can go to InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com and find the Wake Up America Immune Support coffee. Forget the tea party. We're the coffee party, ladies and gentlemen, turbocharging the Wake Up. And then we also, of course, at InfoWarsLife.com have the nascent iodine for the thyroid with all the radiation increasing that I use and my family uses and that all of our advisors recommend. It's its own proprietary type of nascent iodine. We have the fluoride shield that has the nascent iodine and 5 other key ingredients in it as well. We have the super male vitality that's getting rave reviews. All of it and more at InfoWarsLife.com. Again, that's InfoWarsLife.com. Or you can simply call toll-free 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. And we're still running through the month of January, the New Year's special, or if you can get 5 months free when you sign up for a year for PrisonPlanet.tv. You pay for 6.7 months, and you end up getting 5.3 months free. 11 people can use the membership simultaneously, watching the nightly news, all the films, reading my book, Paul Watson's book, 18 years of material, 12 years up and running, PrisonPlanet.tv. I want to thank all of you for being members of PrisonPlanet.tv. All right, going back to Josie Wales, a Second Amendment or pro-gun, pro-self-defense advocate, popping up on the web the last few months and having a big effect. We appreciate her joining us. Enough about my politics or your politics. Where do you see the world going? Do you agree that there's a global awakening that's pro-liberty? What do you see the establishment doing? And what made you decide to start going public for the right to protect ourselves?
Well, I see the world going in the direction of revolution, and it's been, and absolutely, there's been a huge shift in consciousness, and it's been toward liberty, toward individual liberty, and self-ownership. It's definitely right now a revolution of the mind. It's just a matter of getting all of these people who are starting to wake up, to speak out, to educate themselves, and to be able to represent these ideas in a way that other people can understand and relate to. Now, unfortunately, with, I know that you covered the Kelly Thomas story. These events are not few and far between. They are every day, and they are constant, and they're it's just the sheer numbers are increasing. I don't know if it's because of the documentation and, the internet and social networking, but it seems as though these events are increasing. And unfortunately, when the system no longer supports justice and no longer promotes it and puts that into effect, then the people are going to take it in their own hands. Unfortunately, like frogs in boiling water, it's going to be to the point where it's, that water's scalding and people are going to be angry and they're going to do whatever they can to fight back and to get out of this mess that, we've all let ourselves get into. I'd like it to be a peaceful revolution, and I myself, and I know a lot of people are doing everything in our power to make it that way. Unfortunately, these events strike deep into the heart of people, and they elicit rage and anger, and just it's this alone. I'm still in shock, and nothing should surprise me at this point. But it's such a tragic event, and I don't I'm hoping for it to go well. You know, I like to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst, basically.
I tend to agree with you, but again, it is positive news that throughout the bureaucracy, throughout corporations, you name it, people get that things are going in the wrong direction fast. I just hope that good people like you start standing up and having their voices heard so that we can show that we're the majority. And even if the system goes through with its takeover, then the resistance will be that much larger, and there'll be so many people saying no, they can't come after all of us with their little re-education camps and their secret police.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. And one very important thing that really needs to happen is that a lot of people who already understand, I'm starting to see all these different types, all these different, kinds of liberty movements within the grand liberty movement. And a lot of times, you have the debates, and there are these different groups who think, I want to fight this way, and this is how I want to stand up to it, and this is how I want to stand up to it. And, there was a great line in, that Hunger Games movie that said, remember who the enemy is. The enemy is not us. We're all awake. We have to get together and strike at the root of this evil tree. And for us to do that, we kind of have to get together and strike at the root together instead of just, focusing on the hot button issues. And, that the divide and conquer tactic is successful is because it works. So in order for us to really make a difference, all of these, this mass amount of people who finally are awake and understand that we need to fight back, need to get together and put the differences aside and focus on the main issue, which in and of itself is the corrupt government, and not just in the United States, but all over the world.
Josie Wells is our guest. The website's josietheoutlaw.com. And again, ladies and gentlemen, she won't save the world. I won't save the world. You won't save the world, but together we can really turn things around and save the world from tyranny by all of us as individuals promoting liberty. It will create an incredible diversity of ideas, an incredible diversity of debate, and will absolutely, in its cultural beauty and its depth and breadth, will, to use a bad term for something good, seduce away all of those that are bought into the left-right paradigm and big government and groupthink. Literally, it will show them that there's an alternative. We will build it. They will come. And they are coming. And we have built it. And it is going to continue. And my goal is to, really see humanity truly empowered, not use our technology, not use our intelligence to con each other, but use our intelligence to empower one another. And to really be a fan of humanity, not to be a predator in the system to where you end up bringing down the whole system because the system is based on fraud. Kind of re-encapsulate that video that we linked to on Infowars.com a month or so ago. I forget the exact title. We can pull up your YouTube page where you had a message for police. You had a question for police, and you really spelled it out there very simply, but very well said, to really put the gauntlet down, because police are going to be where the rubber meets the road. That's where the tyrannical state is going to express their power through, and that's why it's so important to target police with the truth, because they're being targeted with brainwashing and globalist disinfo.
Exactly. Well, see, the reason we did that video was because that's been a very serious issue with me for some time. And, I started out with the rage and just, screaming at them at events and kind of just angry at them. And then I started progressing and learning, and I started going one-on-one and really doing an examination of conscience with each and every police officer. And I was met with, the entire spectrum of reactions that you can get. I got hate, I got ridicule, I got anger, silence, all throughout the spectrum. But over and over again, I found they were all extremely uncomfortable. And time after time, I found that entire groups, of federal agents would retreat and walk away when when I would scream at them and get angry and try to shame them very, very vocally, they would only aggress, and it almost, fueled them and made them angrier. So what we decided to do was come up with a video that basically went through an examination of conscience, and said, draw your line. At what point are you going to harm a human being? At what point will you realize that just following orders isn't an excuse to abandon your morals? Remember that you were born with a conscience. And why were you born with a conscience if you're supposed to ignore it and just blindly obey whatever an authority tells you to without questioning it?
In closing, take a couple of minutes to talk about whatever subject you want. I always like to throw in that wild card, Josie Wales, and give me your take on just the state of the world and any other points that you'd like to get out to a couple million people.
What's really important, I released a video today about schooling, and I think that is extremely important because I get a great response from people in in their 20s and up to middle-aged and over. I think it's very important, especially in this day and age where children are being raised by the internet and indoctrination camps that are called schools, that they're targeted in a way that they're given an option to either be homeschooled or unschooled. And so this next video basically highlights, it parallels all of the similarities between schooling and prison and explains why schooling may not be the best for your children. Parents send their kids to school with the best intentions, wanting the best future for them, not understanding that what's happening now is that these children are being just trained at such a young, vulnerable age to be blind, obedient subjects. So I think it's very important to focus on the younger generation because they're the future. They're the ones who, in the next 5, 10, 20 years, we're going to be depending on, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon, but it's extremely important, and I think that right now is my main focus. I have tons of videos in the works and all of those things, but right now that's the most important. It's really important to get to the younger generation. So.
Very well said. What do you think about, in closing, Hillary Clinton being considered for defense secretary or Mayor Bloomberg? These are people that have criminally tried to destroy the right to keep and bear arms. These are people who are open enemies of this country. I mean, I think that illustrates how close we are to a full takeover.
Oh, absolutely. It makes perfect sense if you understand how corrupt the government is. They're perfect for the job that their bosses, they want them to do. So I think it's horrendous and horrible, and everything that we can do should be done to stop it. But I think that if they're looking for just another tyrant, then they found them. They could, either one of them would work. We just kind of have to stand up and not listen to them and look them right in the face and say, no, you're wrong. I won't obey, and I'm not going to listen to what you say. And we have to kind of get together and work against that.
All right, well, I look forward to you popping back in, and once we launch the new TV studio and get some of the new crew in place, we're going to start looking to have correspondents in different regions of the country. And we have Dan Badandi on the East Coast and a few others, but we'd like to talk to you down the road. And so if I forget, get back in contact with us, Josie, about having you do some correspondence work for us out there. And we're going to be looking, again, for auxiliary reporters that file maybe a report every week, and work with us part-time coming up, because we're looking to take the Infowars to the next level, Josie. And certainly if we get you some better equipment and stuff, you've already knocked it out of the park by taking action. Resistance is victory. I can see you're doing your work without even a microphone, an external microphone, or even a high-quality camera. It looks like it's okay. But the quality of your information and your spirit is shining through. So to you and whoever's helping you, we salute the work that they're doing there on the East Coast. So, again, the fact that you've gotten into the game and are fighting hard and exploding is just another testament to how we're going to bring down these tyrants. So we salute you.
Thank you so much for having me on, Alex.
You bet. Take care. There goes Josie Wells, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, is that really your name, Josie?
Yes.
Wow. So you're so let me guess. Your parents must be patriots.
Oh, my first name is Josie. Wales is not my last name. It's my nickname. It's been my nickname for about 20 years, since I was 10.
All right. Well, I was like, wow, he really got the name Wells. Wells is a cool name, too. All right. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. And that's our future right there. That is our future, is young men and women taking action and just out of the gates kicking butt. But even if somebody does their first video and it's not even that great, so what? My videos, from 1995 to about 97, my videos were not half as good as Josie Wells. And again, I'm not up here trying to be the king dog, and I'm not in competition with Glenn Beck, any of these people. I'm in competition with evil. I don't want them taking over. I take it very personal. People get into a football game and they care who's going to win the Super Bowl or whatever. I could care less. I am 1,000 times more committed to beating the tyrants with that same energy of back when I was a sports fan and I'd really want my team to win and I'd really get into it. And I'd be so happy for hours if my team won. That's mental illness, folks. You're supposed to care about your family being free. You're supposed to take tyranny personal. You're supposed to have an instinct to crush it. And that's what I'm doing. That's where I'm moving. That's what I'm up to. That's my goal. That's what I'm going for. And I am just so honored to be here, and I don't even feel worthy. And like they say in Wayne's World, we're not worthy, we're not worthy. But, you know, the truth is that none of us are worthy in the final equation. Our best works are like dirty rags to God. But our hearts are right, and that's what matters. Get your heart right, get your head right, face up against the evil, and get ready for the animating contest of liberty. We're alive right now on this planet in the great battle of the ages.
When the day comes where the world changes forever, you can be ready at a moment's notice. With Survivalist Camps, the ultimate fully functional off-the-grid survival bug-out house that's completely mobile and ready to go. All the comforts of an RV, but custom built to outlast any other trailer. Learn more at survivalistcamps.com. Due to overwhelming response, limited inventory is available. Be ready with survivalistcamps.com. Survivalist Camps, providing your basic needs to survive.
Is the Second Amendment your line in the sand? Is the United States Constitution important to you? Are you worried about gun confiscation? You need to join us for free at gunconfiscation.com. At gunconfiscation.com, you will meet like-minded patriots, get the latest Second Amendment news, and find anything you need to prepare for gun confiscation. Visit gunconfiscation.com today. That's gunconfiscation.com. Which side are you on?
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive Infowars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the info war at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Curious about what comes next? Next is the feeling of vulnerability you get after you arrive home to discover your house has been ransacked by burglars. Fool the bad guys with a new improved fake TV. You asked for it, we listened, and we made our new fake TV 3 times brighter than our previous model. The brightness of our new fake TV is equivalent to a 40-inch TV. It simulates the color and motion of a real TV while you're away from home. And when burglars think someone is home watching television, they're likely to pass your house and move on to an easier target. The new, brighter fake TV is only $39.95 and includes free shipping. Go to faketv.com or call 1-877-5-FAKE-TV. That's 877-532-5388. Or go to faketv.com. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
Cyrus Jones from 1810 to 1913 made his great-grandchildren believe you could live to 103. 103 is forever when you're just a little kid. So, Cyrus Jones, live forever. Grave digger, when you dig my grave,
make it shallow.
Would you make it shallow? So I can feel the rain.
Grave digger.
Grave digger.
Cyrus Jones.
Mural Stonewall, 1903 to 1954. She lost both of her babies in the Second Great War. Now you should never have to watch your only children lowered in the ground. I mean, you should never have to bury your own babies.
All right, folks, we are back live. Thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday edition. I have been ranting and raving quite a bit. Coming up in the next hour, I'm going to look at police militarization and why it's causing so many tragic deaths of citizens, while numbers of police dying is way down. But if you talk to the average cop, they think the numbers of their deaths are way up. They're absolutely being trained on average that the public is the enemy. Israeli defense minister says John Kerry should take Nobel Prize and leave us be. And says that they're concerned about Iran getting nuclear weapons. You know, I'm going to be honest with you folks. Iran already has nuclear weapons. Saudi Arabia already has them. You notice that's been coming out now about Saudi Arabia. I have high-level sources. This is all about not letting them have power, not letting them have nuclear power because they don't want the country to be dependent on its own energy. They want it to be dependent on outside energy. Even though they have a lot of oil, Iran cannot refine its oil. It's very hard to do that. And so they import most of their refined gasoline. Now, I'm not a fan of nuclear power either. Let's get that clear. Because these companies don't ever manage it correctly, and you have a lot of problems. But their nuclear program is peaceful. But it's because they don't need to have a weaponized program because they have atomic weapons they've gotten from Pakistan and Russia. And, of course, now you see news reports. The word is they've gotten it from Pakistan and Russia. And Saudi Arabia brags, okay, we've got nukes, too, from the same place. And then Israel's giving them nukes. I mean, it's on, folks. The nukes are all over the place. And the reason the Pentagon doesn't want to attack Iran, I'm not defending Obama, by the way. He wants to act like he's a peacenik while they're activating al-Qaeda forces in Iran and other places to try to overthrow the government. They've had sanctions, you name it. They're only going this, quote, peace route because Iran did give in on a bunch of the sanctions. And it's not that any side is good in this. It's all bad. It all runs from bad to worse. It's a very sophisticated situation. Israel wants to beat war drums with Iran because of the fact that that is a political, domestic distraction for the Likudniks that run the country. But, again, they're spinning this as more treason from Obama. When I guarantee you, folks, they're going to end up double-crossing Iran down the road if they can get the Pentagon to go along with an attack. But, look, the Pentagon does not shrink away from a war. And they're not trying to not have a war because it's some morality issue. It's an issue of they've war-gamed it, Russia, China, India getting into it, Israel getting into it. It's just very high probability it's going to create a huge regional war and then a nuclear war, and you don't want that. And you got China talking about going into these islands that they claim are theirs off the coast of the Philippines. I mean, this is getting crazy right now. So that's what's happening on that front. We've got the Obama dictator clip that I still haven't played yet. He's got a new statement about how he'll just do whatever he wants outside of law. That's coming up. Stay with us.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
Why
Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products, and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, the FCC says it may appeal court ruling against its net neutrality rule. That is a big deal. The Federal Communications Commission may appeal the ruling by the U.S. Appeals Court that struck down the agency's so-called net neutrality rules, according to FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler. I'm committed to managing our networks as engines of economic growth, test beds for innovative services and products, and channels for all forms of speech protected by the First Amendment. We will consider all available options, including for these appeals, to ensure that these networks on which the Internet depends continue to provide free and open platform for innovation and expression and operate in the interest of all Americans. And, folks, normally I don't agree with the FCC, but the FCC has been saying, look, you can't have telecoms that already make money hand over fist off their subscriber base and off their bandwidth base, claiming that they're going to charge you more for access to certain groups' websites that isn't their content. I mean, that'll totally kill the Internet as we know it. And there is a major move to do this, and this is basically what Internet 2 is. They're talking about service providers charging Google when their customers try to go to Google. And I'm no fan of Google, but you've got to use these separation of powers, these different big globalist blocks against each other. See, that's why you have the legislative, executive, and judicial, knowing that tyranny will try to take over all three, so you have it divided up to where it can never get organized, and they knew common sense would show that there'd be infighting, and so they could never organize evil. The same way they use balkanization on us, so we can't ever organize to get rid of the New World Order, they can't ever get properly organized because they're all fighting over stuff. So it's the best of times, worst of times. It's our doom, it's our salvation, that we have separation of powers. That's why when you hear, oh, we need to get rid of gridlock in Congress and Obama needs to just have executive orders, and we're going to play that clip here in a moment, and do whatever he wants, and he'll fix everything if we just give him all the power. This is a big deal. So let's go ahead and go to this clip of Obama saying, Congress? I don't need no stinking Congress. Here it is.
We are not just going to be waiting for legislation in order to make sure that we're providing Americans the kind of help that they need. I've got a pen and I've got a phone. And I can use that pen to sign executive orders and take executive actions and administrative actions that move the ball forward in helping to make sure our kids are getting the best education possible, making sure that our businesses are getting the kind of support and help they need to grow and advance, to make sure that people are getting the skills that they need to get those jobs that our businesses are creating. And I've got a phone that allows me to convene Americans from every walk of life, nonprofits, businesses, the sector, universities, to try to bring more and more Americans together around what I think is a unifying theme, making sure that this is a country where if you work hard, you can make it. And so one of the things that I'm going to be talking to my cabinet about is how do we use all the tools available to us, not just legislation, in order to advance a mission that I think unifies all Americans. The belief that everybody's got to take responsibility, everybody's got to work hard. But if you do, that you can support a family and meet the kinds of obligations that you have to yourself and your family, but also to your communities and to your nation.
All right, I'm going to play this clip again when we come back. It's so important. I meant to get it in the first hour. I always wait towards the end to get to all the important stuff. When we come back, I'm going to play it again and just stop and start the whole thing. Because that's so important there. Not just saying I'll do whatever I want because it's my job and everybody loves it. That's all a lie and criminal. But the fact that he only talks about Americana when it's like, you know, we have shared responsibility to raise the debt ceiling. And by the way, it doesn't raise the debt. And you know, this is what America's about. It's just total fraud. It's incredible. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table, and the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. Alex Jones here with a message to fellow freedom lovers. The prognosis for the entire planetary economic system runs from bad to worse. The globalist model is to shut down societies and starve patriots out until they acquiesce to the global takeover. That's why we've assembled the most vital and important preparedness items at InfoWarsShop.com. These are items that I did research on, that I personally use. We've got the Life Straw, so you can turn fetid water into safe water anywhere you go. The K-Tor hand crank generator to charge up key equipment during power outages or out in the field. Strategic Relocation, 3rd edition by Joel Skousen. When Disaster Strikes by Matthew Stein. ThyroSafe, used by Homeland Security to protect yourself during any radiological event. Hand crank shortwave AM/FM radios. Everything that we've researched and found to be the best is available at InfoWarsShop.com, and your purchase makes our InfoWar possible. We're getting prepared. Are you? InfoWarsShop.com.
Hello, this is Hank Hill, and I'm telling you what, you need to listen to Alex Jones.
Yeah. Infowars.com.
Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, the 14th day of January, 2014. I am your host, Alex Jones, and we're now into the final hour that's going to be jam-packed with news and information. I want to talk about Obama, the dictator, coming up towards the end of the hour, and I'm going to play that clip again and analyze it, where he says it's Americans' responsibility to basically go along with this whole system and to pay their fair share. So the American dream is having a bunch of crooks run your life and to have him, by executive action, circumventing Congress. And he'll talk about the American dream and how anybody can make it working hard if you just go along with him, while he does everything he can to shut down the economy, everything they can to consolidate the economy in globalist hands, everything they can to create a total crony, monopoly, rigged economy. That's the bottom line. That's what's going on here. And it's a big deal that we're converting over to all of this right now. There's also some powerful reports that we're going to be posting in the next hour up on Infowars.com that we're, during the breaks, writing the descriptions for and getting up on the site that are very important, where they found 7 times the radiation level on another California beach versus when they went to a nuclear reactor that's active. So the beach is 7 times more radioactive than a reactor. We've got some other Fukushima news. Scientists to monitor California kelp forest for Fukushima radiation. Fish are found to have 20+ times safe radiation levels off the coast of Japan. That's some of the breaking news up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com right now. Also, Steve Watson has another article, Growing Record Growth for Privacy Search Engines in Wake of NSA Revelations. And that's the answer to Big Brother, is to vote with your dollars and to use and support products and organizations and media that promote liberty. And that doesn't mean any of these groups are perfect. Doesn't mean I'm perfect. It means that if people have their heart in the right place, they're trying to do a good job, they're trying to be honest, they're trying to give you good products, good information, that's who you support. When you've got premeditated, larcenous globalists that are manipulating the situation, you've got to stand against them and really realize that they're out to get you, and you've got to take it very, very personal. Now, I want to get into a really painful subject right now and just illustrate how sick it is and illustrate the humanity of the young man that was killed. He wasn't a criminal. He was the son of a police officer who was schizophrenic, and he was homeless, and the police come over and start talking about how they're going to beat him. And so he tries to get away, and then over 20 minutes, they beat him to death. Took him 4 days to die, and the jury was told that he could have died of a heart attack. And so they ruled that, well, the cops get off because they didn't kill him. And that's like saying JFK wasn't killed by a bullet, he was killed by a heart attack. Or that's like saying a gnat that flies into your windshield when you're going 100 miles an hour. That's like saying that the gnat died of a bacterial infection or a heart attack. Now, there are a lot of people that are being killed by the police, not just here, but in other authoritarian regimes all over the world, by police that resemble hardcore criminals, just from what I've seen being around really serious ex-cons and thug types. I mean, that's what cops more and more look like in big city, is just really disgusting thugs who've got serious problems. And the DA's freaking out about this. Everybody's freaking out about this because it's all on video, the slow, methodical killing of this guy who's begging and can't breathe. And that's a game police play now, where they jump on you knowing you can't breathe, break your neck, you name it. And then if you beg, please get off me, I can't breathe, they just sit on you until you die or until you pass out. And then after he passed out, they kept sitting on him until he went into a coma. And, you know, I see articles every couple of days where an autistic kid, 10, 11, 12 years old, I'll be walking down the street and the cops pull up and say, give me your ID. And they can't talk. And I've seen the photos of these kids and videos of these kids, sometimes squad car videos. It's clear that they're completely disabled. I've seen a video where they tell a guy who's a quadriplegic, get out of your wheelchair. And he says, I'm sorry, sir, I'm paralyzed from the chest down. but if you take me over to that counter, I can lift up with my arms. And they throw him out onto the ground. I think there's a bunch of those videos. There's one where they start kicking him, and the guy broke like 15 bones when he hit the ground because their bones are like Jell-O. And they didn't get in trouble for that. I mean, we live in a country, folks, where they throw people out of wheelchairs that have calves that are like, 2 inches around. You know, in fact, I have a friend who was a Home Depot manager who was paralyzed from the chest down, and it was a big court case, and later the squad car video came out. The guy's like a commander in Austin, big, giant, guy. And he pulls him over. He wants to search his car. He said, I think you threw a cigarette out. And he says, what are these on your steering wheel? He said, those are my hand controls. I'm paralyzed. And he said to him and his wife, get out. And he said, okay, my wife's got to get the wheelchair out of the back and give it to me. No, you're going to do it. And he said, well, I don't have crutches. I have the wheelchair. And he drug a guy out that's paralyzed from the middle of the chest out and beat him up. And the Internal Affairs found it was good because he didn't follow a police officer's order. That's like telling, a paralyzed person to get up and walk. And it's a total narcissistic mental illness where people under Stockholm Syndrome project their love of corrupt police onto them. And then it's like a prostitute to a pimp. She isn't really scared of him. She loves him because she is scared of him at a subconscious level. And the fact that, now there it is, grand jury acquits a Houston police officer who killed unarmed, disabled, mentally ill Houston man. I mean, I see it all the time. And that's what's really scary is that you come up to an 11-year-old naked autistic girl who's gone out of the house at night and is walking down the highway. And so when they were done with her, they'd broken a whole bunch of bones, knocked her teeth out. Because, she's flopping around going, mommy, mommy. They always beg for mommy. And these guys are, do as I say. I mean, just, and every fiber of me as a man, because I've seen countless of these videos. We could play them every day if we wanted to, but it's not even my goal to demonize the police. This stuff hurts me so much I can't even look at it. They always beg for mommy and daddy. Of course, troops do that too a lot. I don't care how tough you are when your guts are blown out all over the ground and you're in excruciating pain. You'll call out for who you love. You'll say, Mom, Dad. You'll call it for your brother or your sister. And the thing is, when these people call it for mom and dad, you see the cops getting off on it in like a sexual way. They're getting off on the torture, on being sadist. And this is what it's like to live in North Korea. I've seen the North Korean police, the way they act when they're grabbing people and doing stuff. I've seen the Chinese communist police, the way they look. I've seen film reels of Nazi police, the way they looked. It's the same thing. These are dangerous, bad people. And America has a sycophantic love of this. Separately, the public gets societies breaking down, so they want to believe in the police and believe there's a lot of good ones, and there are. And so you need the police a lot of times, and the police do deal with a lot of bad people. And that's probably part of why a lot of them become so bad. But you've got to be really screwed up when you come up to a 240-pound Down syndrome guy. This happens all the time. And you say, I'm going to search your bag. And the guy, I've seen some of these squad car videos. The guy looks like a total child, like a 3-year-old, going, no, no. And the cops will taser him. The mentally retarded guy will charge him. And instead of letting, the mentally retarded guy run down the road for mommy, whatever, follow him home to where they live, they kill him. I mean, you're looking at a guy with Down syndrome. I see this every week in the news. You look at a giant, fat Down syndrome person, not putting them down, they're fat, just they always seem to be fat. The guy we're looking at right now on screen's, fat. And they just kill him. I mean, if I was a cop and there was some Down syndrome guy going, no, no, no. I'm not going to kill him. I'm not going to even taser him. The thing is, they never even have a weapon. They just kill him. And it's this military idea that if you don't do exactly what I say, like a checkpoint in Fallujah, I'm going to kill you because you're the enemy. And I've got articles here where sheriff's deputies says protesters should be exterminated in gas chambers and that anyone that criticizes the police is an enemy. Really? I'm an enemy? This guy was a cop's kid. That's the only reason there was even an indictment. That's the only reason. And I don't know if his dad was a good cop or a bad cop, but he said stuff like, I'm ashamed that I was ever a cop, and, you know, it's a really bad system and it's really corrupt. Yeah, how do you like that, cop? Did you speak out enough against bad stuff? Did the chickens come home to roost? I'm sorry your son's dead. You're probably a nice cop, probably a nice guy. The point is the chickens will come home to roost. The chickens, and when we come back, I'm going to play out of 21 minutes. It's a 21-minute tape total that was entered into evidence. I'm going to play 4.5 of it condensed down. And if you watch the video, the cops are spinning their batons, and they tell him, we're going to F you up. So he gets up and starts trying to run away. They get him, they hold him down, they do this whole, you're resisting. You're like, and I've had that done to me. You're resisting, shove my head in the jail wall when I'm not resisting. It was like some redheaded midget guy wanted to beat me up. He was like laughing. He had like 4 guys with him when I was in the jail for refusing the thumb scan. And I went, man, you really are a little coward. You really want to beat up a bigger man than you, don't you? You people are pathetic.
When you need it the most, will your generator, power equipment, or vehicle be ready? Gas and diesel fuels go bad quickly when stored, and more than half of generator failures during disasters occur as a result of expired fuel. PRI fuel stabilizers keep your fuel fresh for when you need it most. Nuclear power stations, emergency service providers, and ships at sea rely on PRI fuel stabilizers. And you can too. Call 888-776-9373 or visit PRIproducts.com to find the dealer nearest you.
You can eliminate inflammation and pain. You can eliminate constipation or irritable bowels. You can flatten your tummy without exercises, and you can make your complexion clearer and more youthful. You can feel good from the inside out. Find out that as far back as 1749, what was able to reverse one man's death sentence and open up 160 spas to dispense this life-giving food. Call 866-844-1047. That's 866-844-1047.
Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support infusion blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
American gardeners and fellow patriots, make the right choice with your money, time, and your family food supply. Choose 100% pure heirloom seeds in the Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com. Why spend more? The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com is only $37.95 and includes 20 varieties of pure, hardy, easy-to-grow heirloom seeds. Yes, only $37.95. That's 70% less than our competitors. You could buy 3 Survival Seed Vaults for less than one of theirs. The Survival Seed Vault from MyPatriotSupply.com includes detailed planting and seed-saving instructions and ships same day. Plus, all orders over $49 ship free. MyPatriotSupply.com is American-owned by patriots like you, passionate about freedom and preparedness. Call now, 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Or discover more emergency preparedness items when you order at MyPatriotSupply.com. Choose the original. Choose the Survival Seed Vault at MyPatriotSupply.com.
If you're a baby boomer or senior, please listen closely to this important message. Politicians in Washington are quietly plotting to decrease your Social Security payments drastically, and they want to do it soon. In fact, despite rising prices at the gas pump, grocery store, and doctor's office, retirees have received a mere 1.3% annual increase to their Social Security checks. Meanwhile, food stamp recipients have seen their payouts increase over 30% under the Obama administration. That's shocking.
So when we stumbled upon a weird trick that could add up to $1,000 to your monthly Social Security checks, we knew we had to share it with you. To get started, simply go to mybenefits311.com. Yes, it's true. You can take simple steps that could add up to $1,000 to your monthly Social Security payouts. Newsmax says mybenefits311.com is a critical resource for anyone over 50. Go to mybenefits311.com now. That's mybenefits311.com.
We will not be forgotten. We won't be left behind. Our memories live on in mortal mind. And poets feel we'll rise again.
All right, let's continue. Imagine your cops.
Midwest farmer.
You pull up on a Down syndrome man who is so mentally retarded they don't even know where they are, and so you start trying to put handcuffs on them, and they pull their hand away, and so you shoot them. I mean, I know this. Police didn't act like this in the past, and people wouldn't put up with this in the past. Okay, it's absolutely outrageous, and again, I'm not here trying to demonize the police. We need the police to wake up and be on our side because the globalists are running the country. But they've gotten the police in this mentally ill position where they think they're completely above the law and that everything they do is okay because they're the moral authority. No, you're not. Your bosses know about the narcotics trafficking. The big banks all launder the money on record. That's mainstream news. They run the major drug cartels. 90+% of the drugs and drug money is run by the big 6 banks. And you are run by criminals, and they're trying to get you to convert purely to a criminal operation. Look at some of these articles, then I'm going to get to the video and the audio of Kelly Thomas's slow execution. Kelly Thomas verdict. Cops now have license to murder. The acquittal of 2 Fullerton, California police officers in the beating death of Kelly Thomas, a homeless man who was pummeled into a coma as he begged for his life. Oh, he begged for daddy. Underscores the fact that cops now have a license to murder. Thomas, a mentally disabled homeless man, was beaten, tasered, suffocated, and pistol whipped as he lay on the street corner. This huge pool of blood you can look at in the article, being shat on by no less than 6 police officers. Yeah, there were like 12 of them there during the incident in July of 2011. In what is undoubtedly one of not the most disturbing police brutality videos ever, Thomas can be heard pleading for his father, moaning, "Daddy, daddy, they are killing me," as officers prolong the assault. According to the jury in the case, who found Officer Manuel Ramos and Officer Jay Cincinnati not guilty of all charges of murder and manslaughter, Thomas just coincidentally chose to die of an undiagnosed heart condition in the hospital 5 days after the beating, having never regained consciousness. Police claimed that the brutal pummeling they inflicted on Thomas, illustrated by shocking photos of his bloodied, swollen body, was justified response to his pathetic attempts to resist being murdered. Yeah, and I've had cops on top of me before when they want to do that for fun. And, you know, I'm able to zen out when somebody's sitting on my back and my legs and shoving my head in the ground. And then thank God after a minute they stop and then are, you know, on a power trip all staring at you, a bunch of cowards, and you're down, and they get to be tough because they were bullies in school, but now men stood up to them and kicked their butts, so they went and became cops. I mean, I guarantee you could, thugs like this, you could take 10 of them, I'd stomp every one of them into the ground. And I'm not bragging, folks, but thugs start a fight with me, the more the merrier. That's the only time Godzilla even wakes up. And I'm telling you, these people are cowards. These people are completely, absolutely cowards, and I know their type. I know their punk type. I could beat the daylights out of 10 of those any day of the week. In fact, I challenge both of them to come to Austin in the ring with me, bare knuckles, or we'll go to Vegas or wherever it's legal. Right now, in fact, I challenge for charity, for children's charity, I challenge both of them at the same time to a bare knuckles match. But they won't do it because they know what I do in that ring. Savagely explode, take them both down in seconds. The point is that people like that make me want to throw up because they're the enemy of this country and the enemy of humanity, and I'm sick of it. And I'm tired of people like that, having their way with little weak people pinned down on the ground, squeezing their life out of them. And I'm sick of it. I hate North Korean police when I see them on television, and Chinese communist police, and the old Russian NKVD seeing photos of them. They make me want to throw up. A bunch of cowards. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sit here and act tough and stuff. I start flipping out when I think about this stuff. The point is that I'm serious. I want to give them an open invitation. If they think they're so tough, we'll go to Vegas. I've got the connections. If my connections, the UFC will put it on, I'll get in the ring with both of them. And I'm not even a boxer. I want in the ring with both of them, bare knuckles in Las Vegas. Come on, cowards, both of you. Let's go in the ring right now. Right now, cowards. But you won't do that, will you? No, 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 no. You're justifying the hospital and all of it went along with you. It's unbelievable how these people operate and what they're up to and what they do. It is absolutely disgusting. All right, I'm going to settle down and come back and get into the other news that ties into this and play the audio and the video. But it's the essence of tyranny, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be right back. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com. And the revolution against tyranny will be transmitted worldwide. We will never back down. Resistance is victory. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support infusion blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table, and the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products, and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Out of my way, out of my day, out of your mind and into my head. Into no one, into not one, into your stack
The great threat to our families, our providence, our well-being, our wealth, our fortune is tyranny. We've seen it thousands of times throughout history. And it is rising its ugly head yet again, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I've only aired this audio once or twice before. The guys are always wanting to air it to illustrate. But it makes me so upset to hear it and watch it. To watch cowards killing an innocent person and using a bunch of legalese to do it. I don't like to play it. Because I empathize with the weak and the oppressed. Because that's just my instincts. And I absolutely go wild in my mind thinking about bullies and thugs and cowards. And not just bad police. I won't go downtown because if a group of gang members is walking around and says something to me or as a group acts like thugs, and I've been with friends before, they've seen this, it's not good. Because it's like a fight or flight situation. I immediately want to start attacking people. And that's a normal instinct in men to defend their families against bad guys. You're not supposed to have that killer instinct on good people or on people that aren't actually a threat. But they hire thugs that have the instinct, but it's twisted and it's cowardly. Like these guys run when they're outnumbered. They don't charge when they're outnumbered. See, a man wants to charge when they're outnumbered, and then when they're not outnumbered, they retreat. Because the instinct is, well, if I'm outnumbered, I'm cornered. That's when you can really be a man. That's why old women can pick up cars off kids. That's a drug right there. Because your brain says, this is good. You're fighting 5 bad guys. They've got you cornered. Let them have it. But the few times I was in a fight and wasn't completely in the right, I got my butt kicked because my body didn't even respond. I had no strength. And then the person that, after they gave me a few good licks and I couldn't get mad and couldn't even, get going, they're like, all right, now you had enough? Because they had the moral high ground. There's only a few times in my life that I look back and I didn't have the total moral high ground. And I was just a, run-of-the-mill guy. But the times in my life growing up in Dallas where, one guy starts a fight, you beat them, and their buddies jump in, and then it's just you black out. And it's like, you're like, you hear like a whistle noise, and it's on, man. And the whole point is that you watch cops just enjoying themselves, sitting on this guy and bashing his head in the ground and hitting him with their guns and hitting him with flashlights and just beating his head completely in, and then still sitting on him after he's brain dead. And then being proud of themselves and strutting around his body. You got to watch the whole 21 minutes. It's such an act of intense cowardice that it makes you ashamed to be a human and ashamed to be a man. And if I was the average cop out there, I would be extremely ashamed. I said I'd open the phones up for police out there, but, police are afraid somebody will hear them call in on the show. I know there's a lot of good police out there, but I'd like to hear from former police, current police, or even active duty soldiers. When you watch video like this, and then you watch the ensuing cover-up, does it make you feel good? And when you look at the way these cops look, I didn't see one Dallas cop that looked like a criminal, and I'm sure there were some that aren't good when I was up there. But then I saw the sheriff's deputies that were special hired goons. They all look like this, but bigger. And they have that look of they've got something to prove. They're not really men. They're not really tough. They're wimps. There's nothing worse than a wimp trying to be a man. I'm telling you right now, there's nothing worse than that. And I'm sick of it. And I'm calling them out at the base level of this sick cult that the police have become, just like every other third world country, of how they're above the law and they're great. I'd like to hear from police and military out there. 800-259-9231. And we're going to go right to your calls after I play this. But 800-259-9231. Future cop says he's about to be a sheriff's deputy. Protesters should be exterminated in gas chambers. And that anyone that videotapes police should be basically killed. I mean, just amazing. Man shot dead at movies after texting by retired Tampa cop. I got another article here where, the cop didn't like what was happening, so put a gun to a kid's throat in McDonald's. And you see these videos all the time where a cop will pull their gun out because a waitress doesn't give them quick enough service. And then they'll defend them. It's like the cops that came in Phoenix, or was it Tucson, and just for fun, pull the gun on the clerk. Now, in that case, the police fired him and criminally charged him. That's what you're supposed to do, folks. You got some lunatic. You don't protect him. You throw the book at him. Because it's going to bring down the whole system. I mean, I'm here to tell you. The example of how police are above the law in many jurisdictions is just an example of what's going on at the top. So 800-259-9231. Let's go ahead now and go to a condensed 4 minutes of police officer's son. Remember that, cops. This can happen to your kids. I heard the Austin police chief a few months ago on 590 AM say, even if an order's unlawful, do what you're told and you won't get hurt. What if a cop shows up and says, come mow my lawn, or tells, they've had cops pull women over at the topless bars and say, service me. I mean, you got to follow every, no, I'm not going to follow every order. The law and common law says that's tyranny, and I have a right to defend myself. Now let's go ahead and go to this incredible audio, and then we'll go to these police officers and people that are calling in. 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231, and then we're going to go into some of the other special reports we have, into some overdrive if we have time to do it today. But, again, I'm holding back playing this. Here is it from the beginning of the event. Here it is. You've got the cop with a billy club.
Well, hey, I'm sick of playing games. Which one is it? Would you just
hit pause? Hit pause. So and again, we've edited the tape. You can see the full tape. It's been seen by everybody. They just harass him, get his info for a while, start putting his hands on him. The guy's the normal response, pulling his hand away, saying, I'm sick of playing games. Well, the cop then grabs him around the neck and says, I'm going to hurt you really bad. Let's go back to the audio and video. Hit pause. Get on the ground. The guy puts his hands up like, settle down. But it's not normal when a predator comes up and says, get on the ground. But he starts getting ready to go on the ground. The cop doesn't want that. He wants to have some fun. He hits him with a billy club across the thighs. Now the guy runs. There's not a mammal on earth. You either fight or you run. And people are going to start fighting back, see? And they want a civil war, folks. People keep trying to run because they don't want to die, like that woman in D.C. Let's go back to it. They tackle him. And of course, before the video got released, they lied about what happened.
Okay, dude. Okay.
Says, okay.
I'm sorry, dude.
I'm sorry, Lordship. I'm sorry you hit me for no reason.
Put your hands on your back.
I'm sorry you're on a power trip.
Okay, dude. Okay. Okay.
So
Put your hands on your back. Okay. Put your hands on your back.
Now they're breaking his arm. Now they're sitting on him, putting their weight on him. He's panicking in the pain. See, they do the pain to make you resist.
Okay. Relax. I'm sorry.
Just relax and let us kill you.
Dude, what do you like? Hey,
this guy jumps on top.
Hold up. Oh.
Yeah, get a kick in.
Dude. I'm sorry.
These cops are all going to die of incredibly painful cancer. Their kids are going to die. Everything. God's going to cut you all down.
Okay, put your face down.
Goes on and on. This is edited down for 21 minutes. This isn't really edited at first. This is when they finally get him to be knocked out.
Huh?
They're tasering him right now. And they call that resisting, involuntarily flopping.
Come on.
Taser him some more. Torture him some more. Oh, that moving. Gonna have to beat you in the head with a flashlight.
Roll on your stomach. Roll on your stomach.
Roll on your stomach while we're tasering you.
Oh!
Land of the free, home of the brave. These are nothing but social workers with guns and badges and tasers. Daddy's not coming. Now they're hitting him in the head with the flashlights. Right now, there's 6 police laying on top of him, beating him and beating him and beating him and kicking him and stomping him. On and on. Now this cop gets his head, knee on his head, get bones broken all over his body. You ought to go read all the stuff they did to him. Get off me. Nobody's getting off you. You're going to go to the morgue, boy. Nobody's getting off America. Nobody's getting over the 56 million aborted babies. The Federal Reserve's going to keep printing money. America's going down. And these cops are going down with it. It's all going to go down. The radiation, the GMO, the curses.
Lay down. Face down.
They're never going to stop till you're dead, boy. Calling for Daddy? Daddy came.
God help me. God help me, God.
God help you?
Please.
The police are God.
Help me.
Nobody's going to help. As he begs for Daddy, they intensify the attack. They love hearing him beg for Daddy. That's the best part. Beg for Daddy. Beg for Daddy. He's never coming.
Help me, Dad. Help me, no.
He's not coming.
Help me. Okay, help me, please. Let go of me.
Satan has you now. Oh, God. Nobody's going to help. The good guys are here. They're all standing on him. Now some more beating. And now he's going to jail. Huge pool of blood. Mission complete. Well, good job. All right, there you go. And, I'm not trying to be sardonic there. I'm illustrating with the dark satire that this is where we are as a culture. And, again, we cut out a lot of the beating, a lot of the cussing, a lot of it. But it went on and on. And he submitted. They're the boss. They're in control. And they're going to walk. The 2 guys that did the caving into the head and the throat and the bones. And they're heroes, actually, in a war on the front lines. And don't worry, when they're all done, believe me, they're not going to be cops in the future. It's all going to be robots. Don't worry, everybody's going to get a taste of this. I'll be honest with you, Kelly Thomas got out of it easy. The little kids they shoot up with vaccines with cancer viruses, they can take 3 years to die in excruciating pain. So, these low-level psychopaths are just on power trips. They don't even know what they're doing. But the higher-ups, they're going to make sure everybody cries for mommy a long time. Because that's the music to the evil people's ears. Satan likes that dark energy force of the innocents being destroyed, crushed, sucked dry. So that was like Beethoven right there to psychopaths and evil people listening. Daddy, can we cue that back up? I'm going to go with these phone calls. Rob, Justin, Woody, Coffer, and others. We actually got police to actually call in. Ex-cop, military, ex-cop, cop for 16 years, 800-259-9231. But just as we come back to the next break, let's hear some of the calling for Daddy. Because, I have a son, and that's a very painful sound to hear Daddy, Daddy, and then please, God, please, God. And, of course, God will come to our aid if we become righteous again. But the police started grabbing on him and then hit him with a billy club, so he ran for his life. He had good instincts, and they killed him. All right, who's the trash in that video? Let's talk to Woody in Washington. I'm sure you've seen that video. You just heard the audio. What do you think of that event? Was that a good thing to do?
Well, the police stopped being peace officers back in the 70s with all the federal money that came into local law enforcement. Richard Nixon was behind that. And it was only guys like me that came on were mentored by the older brood of real men into the profession. And what you have now is you have a reflection of society. And it's unfortunate. It makes all police look bad.
No, I agree. It is a reflection of the degenerate, cowardly society. Go ahead.
Well, I trained recruits for over 10 years. And you either had really good or really bad. There wasn't much in between. And, here's a suggestion, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. Your radio's distracting you.
Try and put some good things on that the police do, too.
Look, I know that positive enforcement is better than negative enforcement. This isn't even about the police. It's about a corrupt system, and it's about people that are who are such control freaks that they kill mentally ill people every day in this country because they don't follow orders. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's a lot of that, but it's also a lot of group psychology today. You have a thug culture that's infected our nation, and this is a reflection. The police reflect that. They're a reflection of our society.
I totally agree. The military's being taken over by actual gangs. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah, they purged most of us. They got rid of most of us, not long after 9/11. So
I know. Listen, I've got a lot of family that are retired police, and they're just really great, cool, fun people to be around. Really hardworking, smart, good people. But they're all old men now. And I talk to young cops, and some of them are nice, but a lot of them are crazy. And they're looking for trouble. And as a man, I have the same response to them that I have walking down an alley when a couple thugs say something smart and are thinking about jumping me. Do you understand what I'm saying? I have the same animal response to a lot of police now that I have to ex-cons. Do you understand?
It's unfortunate that we've sunk this low.
I hear you. Anything else? All right, I appreciate your call. Folks, try to turn your radio off or it will distract you because there's like a 15-second delay. Let's talk to Rob in Wyoming, former police officer. What do you think of stuff like that?
Oh, I think it's ridiculous. Absolutely insane. But for the times that we're living in, par for the course.
Yeah, I mean, so what if a homeless person runs away from you? If you're not looking for a bank robber, just follow them down the street, pick them up in an hour. I mean, I don't understand killing somebody. Plus, the guy starts putting his hands up, and the cop hits him with a billy club across the thighs. I mean, what's he supposed to do, run or fight him?
I would try to get away personally. I lost my job for basically standing up for the oath that I took. And I refused to participate in invasive procedures. And unfortunately, there's just not a lot of people that are willing to sacrifice that for doing the right thing anymore.
You know, the head of the Texas State Police supported them doing, without even probable cause, with the same glove, cavity searches of 4 cavities, 2 women repeatedly. Now, finally, there's been lawsuits, and they had to back off. But, I mean, that's scary when the state police are going to put you over the hood and put their fingers in you.
Yeah, I have a wife and kids, and I don't know that I would tolerate that very well if they tried doing that to me or them.
Well, see, that's what I'm afraid of, is that I'm getting to the point where I'm not looking for trouble, but at an instinctive level, I can't handle it. And I'm just praying that nobody tries this with me.
No, I hear you there. I absolutely agree.
What kind of stuff did you say invasive procedures. What are you talking about?
Well, I worked for a brief time on the patrol side of the house, and fortunately where I live, we have a very good local police department, but I felt I was better in the detention area, so I worked in the jail. And when we got to getting around to doing the booking procedure, our sheriff had received a grant to operate a iris scanner. And I told my sheriff, I said, if I got arrested and you asked me to put my eyes in there so you could scan my irises, I would tell you to pound sand. So I can't rightfully ask anybody else to do that. And
by the way, so basically they let you go.
Oh, okay.
No. I mean, I'm asking what happened.
Oh. Well, actually, I got hurt. Protecting another inmate, and so yeah, they let, I wasn't able to do the job anymore, so they let me go as quickly as they could. But I'm pretty sure that there were some retribution involved over the letter that I had written regarding the eye scanner deal.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your call. It's just very scary to know that these juries, I mean, that's a reflection of society, are doing things like this. And again, they've got all these excuses of why they're doing this. But this system is a thug culture. We've got so many prisons that are colleges of crime, and they put nonviolent offenders in there, where immediately, see, I wouldn't be recruited by gangs, and these were wannabe gangs, growing up outside Dallas in a suburb, and so they would fight me. I mean, I went into 6th grade out of private school, and, I mean, I was immediately had kids that had flunked 3-4 grades beating me up. And I think it's the best thing that ever happened to me, quite frankly, in my life. Made me a different person. And the school wouldn't protect me. My parents said, well, you just better learn how to fight, which was a normal, old-fashioned way. I'm glad. I mean, it's the best thing ever happened to me. Was, you know, I've been in quite a few fights growing up with thugs, but most people would follow the thugs, adopt their culture, and there was kind of a redneck gang, there was a black gang, a Hispanic gang, but it was, you know, join one of these groups, kiss our butts, or we're going to beat you up every day. And we're going to beat you up wherever we see you around town. And I just got to where, you know, these people are absolutely scared of me. And then I started having, by the time I was like 14, 15, to fight their older brothers and people that were like 20 years old, 22, were actual ex-cons. I mean, I'd be at a party when I was 16 and the door would kick open at some open house party and be some 25-year-old convict going, you put my cousin in the hospital, rah! You know, and it's like when I'm 16 and, you know, guy later I started kicking his butt and he pulled out a knife and, man, I just flipped the switch. And I remember saying, and the same thing with cops, somebody comes at me with a knife, take them out. I have a killer instinct. I said, all right, that's it. And I know it's in my juvenile files up there. That case was in Rowlett, Texas. And I took that big old 250-pound ex-con. I probably weighed 180 pounds. And, I mean, I broke him up bad. And he never even came back from it. Last time I heard he was an invalid. And I'm not even proud of that, but I don't feel guilty over hurting that guy because he pulled a knife when I started kicking his butt. And so it's fine to beat up a really bad person that attacks you. I mean, if some thug, you know, who's just stabbed somebody and you're chasing them and they pull a weapon on you, you know, they're fighting, you beat the brains out, well, fine. Don't beat the brains out of some schizophrenic that didn't even resist you. Because I'm telling you, I look at those cops, they look like the type of guys I used to fight all the time in Dallas. And let me tell you something, they're real tough right up front. When you start hurting them, they start crying and trying to get away. All right, let's go ahead and talk to Cooper in Washington. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, good. You say you're a cop for 16 years. What's your take on this?
You know, I haven't watched the video, and I don't like to play Monday night quarterback, but I will tell you this. I'm a detective, background investigator. I do extensive backgrounds on new hires. And I will tell you there is definitely a culture change, but it all comes down to this, Mr. Jones. What is your department's mission, and what does the chief and the commanders want with new hires? Our department, I just finished a background on a guy, I won't tell you where from, but I did 23 interviews with people because we want to make sure we get the right guy in. But I thank God I work in a community where we work with the citizens. They respect us, we respect them, and I work in a county that's the same way.
Well, that's what I was about to say. You either have, in my experience, good departments of professional good people, or you have departments of thugs.
Well, I agree, and this is the deal. I had a conversation with 2 young officers the other day about the tattoo issue. I don't agree with these sleeve tattoos, and I think if they hire an officer is hired on the department, they need to be covered up because I told them we are not thugs, and I don't care if the culture has changed. We need to be above reproach, and when somebody looks at a police officer, they need to see us the professional man and woman. And they didn't agree because they're younger and they think the tattoos are cool. And I said, you know what? I don't want to be looked at as a thug or a gangster. We're not. We're the thin blue line between good and evil. I really believe that. And but that's the mentality today with these young officers. They think it's cool to wear the tattoos and the gold badges and play Mr. Tough Guy. But that's...
We just lost him. Is his phone disconnect? You still there, Cooper?
Yeah, I'm still
no, he's
here.
back. Is your call waiting? Go ahead.
But anyways, listen, we're servants. We're public servants. And that's where departments need to get back. And they need to understand that, listen, the public pays our pay. And, you know, I blame the public, too. It's because it's what they'll tolerate, too. In my community, if you beat the hell out of somebody like that, I guarantee you're out of a job. Now, these guys are probably going to be charged by the Department of Justice for civil rights violation. This isn't done yet. I mean, if they did screw up. So, but it's...
Well, I've watched the video. The guy's not even resisting, and they're still beating him. And it's like some mob psychology. We're going into overdrive. We're going to talk to Justin, former LAPD, and more. This is powerful phone calls. Everybody stay there. Steve in Costa Rica.
You are listening to
Pyro, Tiger. We're going to get the Tiger's been holding a while. We're going to get the Tiger. Stay with us.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive Infowars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the Info War at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
What you've got is either good police departments or bad police departments, but the globalists are trying to make them all evil. All paramilitary thug groups. We're going to 20 after in overdrive, talking to police, military about Kelly Thomas verdict, license to kill. And clearly, if you watch the 21-minute video, I mean, it's like attack dogs ripping up a baby or something. And I don't want police just trained to just attack anybody for any reason, because that's what macho people do. And we know police are bad in most countries, so it can happen here. It is happening here. And I agree there's a lot of good police out there. The problem is up above them, the system's so corrupt that it wants them to only selectively enforce and get away with murder. Who's been holding the longest here? Is it Justin? Then we'll go to Tiger, Steve, and Pyro, and then that'll be it for calls. Go ahead. Justin in California, former LAPD, works now for military. What's your take on the Kelly Thomas verdict?
It's wrong, Alex. Right now, there's some severe issues going on. You know, Alex, I've been wanting to. I listened to your show recently. There's just some really heavy issues going on. Alex, one of the things that I really need to get out there on the record is people need to really understand what's going on. This stuff is really heavy. It's really deep. Right now, we're at a really risky time. For instance, when did the police go to black uniforms? They used to wear navy blue uniforms. Remember that show? It was called the Hill Street Blues. It wasn't called black uniformed thugs. Okay, and there's some problems. There's areas, for instance, I'm in California, and I'm at like ground zero where the nightmare is taking place. Not unlike this in some places like that, maybe Florida. But one of the problems, Alex, is this: in places like San Bernardino County, the sheriff's deputies who contract out, they're rent-a-cops in the cities they work in. They're actually instructed at this point in time to go ahead and do whatever you want to whoever you pull over at any given time. In other words, you have a green light, violate their Fourth Amendment. Who cares? If they say, no, don't search me, don't go through my car, who cares? If we find the goods on them, put the onus on them to go in front. And then this is what they're instructed to tell the citizens when they trample on their rights. Talk to the judge. Really now, like you can just walk into the courtroom and just say, hey, judge, let's have a beer.
No. I mean, police are now coming in people's houses without probable cause or an emergency, and the courts are saying, yeah, you can come in a house without warrants whenever you want.
See, that's what they're being instructed to do now, Alex. And the prosecutors, they're all in on it. It's a hardcore law and order type of that's not conservatism. I hear you mention these type of issues. People have become confused, propagandized from just the constant brainwashing that's taking place, telling them this or that. But
yeah, they're telling them it's a war. We've got to violate everybody's rights. Meanwhile, the police chief in many areas is on the take with the CIA getting drug money. I mean, it's a total joke. I mean, the low-level drug dealer doesn't even know they work for the big banks. That's confirmed. And I'm not endorsing the thug culture. This has been created artificially, and now it's absorbing the police.
By all means, Alex. And again, the situation is really, really bad. You know, I hate to say this. You know, I worked in law enforcement. I'm going to tell you, I know you get these guys calling in, and I feel a little sympathy for them. Alex, I've got to be honest with you. There are no good police. We're in a full-on police state. And if they are good police out there, they're playing you right now. You've ever heard of a little game called Good Cop, Bad Cop? I'm just telling you. Let me give you the proof of that, okay? The reason why I tell you that they're all bad is because the supposed good guys, why don't they blow the whistle on the bad guys? Everybody knows that there's bad police officers. Everybody knows this. The key is, how do you identify them? You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like when we talk about 9/11 or issues like that. You ask, well, who benefits from this crime? You know, but again, going back to law enforcement, these guys can't even solve 9/11. You think they're going to solve anything that's really important? You know,
hold on, stay there. Don't hang up. I want to come back to you, Justin, and then Tiger, Steve, and Pyro, and that'll be it. But wow, what a powerful call. Yeah, because they're not allowed to. It's on record the big banks launder almost all the drug money. No one goes after them because they run the country.
If you're a baby boomer or senior, please listen closely to this important message. Politicians in Washington are quietly plotting to decrease your Social Security payments drastically, and they want to do it soon. In fact, despite rising prices at the gas pump, grocery store, and doctor's office, retirees have received a mere 1.3% annual increase to their Social Security checks. Meanwhile, food stamp recipients have seen their payouts increase over 30% under the Obama administration. That's shocking. So when we stumbled upon a weird trick that could add up to $1,000 to your monthly Social Security checks, we knew we had to share it with you. To get started, simply go to mybenefits311.com. Yes, it's true. You can take simple steps that could add up to $1,000 to your monthly Social Security payouts. Newsmax says mybenefits311.com is a critical resource for anyone over 50. Go to mybenefits311.com now. That's mybenefits311.com.
Granite Law is a law firm with partners in each state we do business. Our initial consultation is free. Granite Law is not licensed in all states.
Are you struggling to make your mortgage payments? Facing foreclosure? Trying to refinance or modify your home loan but have been turned down? Afraid you'll lose your home? There is a way out. The Obama administration has announced a government relief program called the Home Affordability and Stability Plan, funded by the Housing and Economic Recovery Act. It's designed to save 9 million homes from foreclosure, and there's a good chance you qualify.
We were 3 months behind on our payments, and the National Mortgage Helpline was able to get our mortgage company to take the payments we were behind, put them on the back of our loan, and lower our interest rate. Now we have a payment we can afford.
Here's your chance to take advantage of this government-funded program that's sweeping the nation. Stop foreclosure proceedings, forgive late payments and penalties, convert your adjustable rate to fixed, and reduce it to as low as 2%. Even reduce or eliminate past due payments. Simply call the mortgage hotline now at 800-308-9818. Call for your free no-obligation consultation, 800-308-9818. That's 800-308-9818.
Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support infusion blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
America's got a rude awakening coming. I got an article right here. It just came out. FBI will not file charges against IRS over treatment of Tea Party groups. Well, yeah, it's run by the guy ordering the persecution. A total gangster thug, Eric Holder, who, by the way, was involved in Oklahoma City. Look into that. We even have the emails. We know the name of the task force who was there, seen by witnesses. I mean, it's really bad. By the way, I feel like my life's in danger when I start saying this stuff. Because believe me, they're not happy about it. And so just remember who runs the country. Well, there's all this law and order business. It's in the Chicago Tribune, the El Paso Times, what we told you years ago, Sinaloa drug cartel run by the CIA, FBI, DEA. I mean, the whole thing run. Just the shipments, the cocaine. Every once in a while, the Texas State Police will catch an 18-wheeler full of cocaine. FBI shows up, declares national security, it rolls out. I mean, it's just a fact. This is a $500 billion a year industry that they can use in however way as they want. So, of course, they want a thug culture. The government is thug-run now. And, folks, we better wake up to this and get past the fear. I got a race now through Justin, Tiger, Steve, and Pyro. Justin, finish up your point about, no, I get it. I don't even think all cops are so much corrupt as they're compartmentalized to where, I mean, I've talked to high-level folks how it's like a big joke in the Secret Service, FBI, federal marshals, state police. They'll be laughing at the quote, good cops, as you said, and they're the bad cops. And it's like, hey, go get us some coffee. And then the door shuts, and they're going, what a moron, what an idiot. And that's how this works. Go ahead.
Alex, no, it's heavier than that. It's more dark than that. Listen, Alex, in the capacity that I work in now, I work as an instructor. Okay, and I go and I give these classes, and sometimes the classes that we give are to, like, your local, like, little police officers, in some city in, let's say, Southern California or Northern California or in Arizona. And I listen to these guys talk, Alex, and it's not good. Listen, let me give you another example of something really bad. For instance, all the police are walking around with all these high-tech weapons right now. They're walking around with the high-capacity magazines right now. For instance, like the Glocks with the 17 rounds and whatnot. All these magazines all over their body. Who are those weapons for, Alex? Ask yourself that. Those are for us. You've been saying it now for years. But again, the rubber hits the road. Who are those weapons for?
Oh, I know. Small towns are all getting war wagons. They're training to take on gun owners. They're training for a civil war. And they're training to crush the Tea Party. And the Tea Party is the biggest supporter of the police. And I think the Tea Party should reach out to the police and point out the federalization. And we should get a national movement of police, which we already have with the sheriffs and others, to say they're not going to be part of this. Great points. I appreciate your call. And let me guess what they say as an instructor. They can't wait to kill people. They can't wait to feel women up. They can't wait to, take drugs off people and keep it. I mean, is it that type of stuff?
It's like the guy from Facebook. It's like they call us fools behind our backs. I've got to be honest, though. I'm there with them. I'm listening to what they're saying. I still have blood relatives that are members of. And here's another problem. Let me show you something else. I'll leave you with this, Alex. The whole idea, the philosophy, they call themselves, hey, I'm on the force. I'm going to go work, I'm going to join the force. Hey, the word force in and of itself genuates some type of forcing somebody to do something, submission, some type of power over another individual. Okay, like they're the so-called Jedi or something, some type of fascistic force. The bottom line, Alex, it's dangerous. Okay,
I know. It's become the government force, and the government is hijacked and evil. And so a sword itself isn't evil, but the arm wielding it, the government, is evil, and it's all coming down. And we could stop this whole thing if people woke up and realized it. I appreciate you calling in. I mean, used to the police, even in big cities, left families alone, left people that obviously weren't bad alone. No, it's now about making us know we're bad because the system wants us all to feel guilty. And they want us all accustomed to being questioned, all to basically be inducted into the prison culture. America is one giant prison. Slavery has been re-legalized through government. And they've all got a reason of your zoning or drugs or you didn't put your pills in the right bottle when you went to work. I see cases where they arrest old men for heart medication that isn't even it's prescription, but it's not something that gets you high. And the old guy's got it in his little pill thing he takes, and they go, we're going to take you in. This is prescription, and it should be in a bottle. What, sonny? That's my heart pill. I mean, old ladies will have $2,000 in cash, and the cops in Texas all over will take the money. I mean, this is some whacked out stuff. And they'll have judges and people in these Texas towns on TV going, you shouldn't drive around with money. We don't care if Mrs. Appleton is a pillar of the community. She shouldn't have $2,000. We tested the bills, and 5 of them had cocaine on them. All money that's been used has drugs on it. They go, don't matter. We're keeping the money. That's a crook. And all these other cops that are compartmentalized are like, hey, now don't be too mean. Talk about the good stuff we do. Look, if we don't talk about the bad stuff that's going on, it's going to take over. We've got to have this debate. I mean, folks, I've had family, a bunch of them that work for the Army and stuff, and I mean, in special operations and above that. And I mean, they're just like, come on. That's how I knew when I was a kid the government brought in most of the drugs and killed people and just all sorts of other stuff. And a lot of the muscle for the New World Order comes out of Texas. That's all I'm going to say. And that's where they recruit heavily. And it's all over the place. I mean, a lot of Army officers that I know, after 25 years in the Army, you then graduate to the real Army. Let me just put it to you that way. And the public has no idea how all this really works. And if you get caught shipping drugs in, or you get caught killing people, or you get caught doing stuff like this, why, you were acting alone. It's the movie Two Guns. If you want to know how this really works, I went and saw that new movie Two Guns. I mean, that's like real. Except it's silly, you know, shooting people out of helicopters and stuff. I mean, it's got a cartoon element, but the whole way it works, that new Mark Wahlberg movie. But I was disgusted watching because all the people laughing in it. There were all these cops and military guys in there watching it with me. And I was just like, man, this is freaking me out. I mean, this is freaking me out. Steve in Costa Rica, former law enforcement, what's your take on all this?
Well, Alex, I have quite a year span of reflection on this. And yes, this latest thing in Smele is just horrible. It gives me goosebumps. It makes me want to cry. And I feel your pain, Alex. I feel your pain of what you're feeling because I got the same sentiments inside. The police departments are so different these days. And when I used to see how they pepper sprayed the Occupy Wall Street people with their hands behind their back, handcuffed, and spraying it right in their face, I just get chills just even watching that because the police pepper spray is a crowd disbursement, and they're using it for punishment.
Hey, have you seen the footage in Portland when they had peaceful anti-war demonstrators and they sprayed into baby carriages on purpose and said, don't bring a baby?
Yeah, and what about the private parts in the searching rooms and in the jail cells? I can't believe they're getting away with this. I can't believe it. This is an assault on the general public. If you just spit on a cop, back in the old days, that was an assault on a cop. I used to work in a prison system, too, and when an inmate spit on you, you could arrest him for assaulting a police officer. But it's so different. But also, I grew up around the Rodney King beating. My mother worked at that Baby Beef Burgers where he got beat up. Alex, this stuff has been going on for decades and decades and decades. They're just getting caught more, and they're just being more bold about it because nobody said anything about them. Even the riots after those 2 cops got off in L.A., I said they deserved it, L.A. deserved it, L.A. deserved it. People don't know how many millions of dollars they pay out every year.
Well, here's the deal. It didn't matter if Rodney King was a dumb thug. There's no point when he's not resisting to beat him up, so you become a thug. I appreciate your call. Moving quick. Tiger in Mississippi, law enforcement. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Tiger.
Thank you. I was going to get into some of the stuff on our I've been out of it about 16 years, about 2 years, but I was in it for about 16. I was going to get into some of our traffic stop procedures, but hearing about some of the unnecessary use of force, I want to elaborate on a shoplifting incident I incurred one night. I had taken a shoplifter into custody, and he had put up a resistance at first, so I left him handcuffed even after I got into the station because he was like, as soon as I get out of these cuffs, it's on. We put him in the holding cell, and I was sitting up at the booking counter doing the paperwork, getting him booked in, getting his picture taken, and getting ready to get his picture taken. And he was just dropping the F-bomb every 5 minutes, and I'd tell him to be quiet. He'd been drinking a little bit, too, so he had a public drunk charge. But every time he'd just, drop an F-bomb or something like that, I'd just say, hey, look, you need to be quiet. I'm just, drop a disorderly conduct on you. He'd keep on. So every time he would do something I'd tell him not to do, I'd just drop another disorderly conduct on him. Well, finally, my captain walked in, and captain pretty much yelled at him, why don't you shut the F-bomb up? And the guy told him to F you. And at that point, my captain said, somebody spray him. And I said, Captain, he's cuffed. And he said, I don't care, somebody spray him. Well, and I also walked over and sprayed my prisoner while he's in the cage, handcuffed, And he says, F you, I'm going to get you when I get out of these cuffs. He said, all right, someone tase him. So my prisoner, who I had not touched other than a handcuff, in a cage while I'm booking him, gets sprayed and tasered for just cussing.
Well, see, my issue is I would start getting mad and just having somebody do that. And so that's bad. And I see what you did, was the right thing. My issue is this homeless guy didn't do anything. And they attacked him first and then killed him and then got away with it. I mean, quite frankly, if somebody was yelling at me, and I would get sick of it, and then maybe move them to the end of the hall, with a cell that wasn't loud or something. And I get you want to go get in a fight with them. The problem is you can't because they're under your control. And unless you go take your badge off and get in a fist fight with them, then I mean, maybe they should have in jails like a octagon, and then if somebody signs a form that they want to fight the cop or the jail guard, and the cop wants to get in the ring with them, put them in the ring with boxing gloves on. That's what they do in the old days. In fact, I talked to a family that one of them's a jail guard. He talked to an old jail guard that died like 20 years ago, and he said in the old days that if people kept shooting their mouths off, I'm going to skip this break and go to the bottom of the hour. I got to finish with these guys. And this is like 50 years ago at Huntsville. That they would actually occasionally have the boxing matches. Now you hear about that as gladiatorial events in the jails. But, again, men aren't really men anymore to a great extent. In the old days, you wouldn't say something like that to somebody unless you thought something was going to, end up happening. So I think it's the thug culture on both sides is turning the police into thugs. I think the trainers that called in earlier are right. Go ahead and finish your point.
Like I said, I disagree with what was going on, and as soon as I saw it happen, I've kind of tabbed out of my software system that we used, and immediately went into an interoffice memorandum. I was fixing to write the incident up, and my captain kind of walked behind me and stared over my shoulder. So at that point, I just went ahead and closed that out and forgot about turning in a memo on that, and just finished my report, because at that point I was like, okay, if I do this, I'm pretty much out of a job. But going back to some of our traffic stop situations, it got to the point where they were demanding that it was not in writing. It was an unwritten rule, because a quota is illegal, but an unwritten rule, we were supposed to make 3 traffic stops a night and write at least 2 tickets a night, and they wanted you inside at least 2 of those vehicles. And if you didn't do it, you would get a write-up, maybe not for not stopping a certain amount of vehicles, but they would find a reason to get you. And then...
well, exactly. I mean, it's like almost every time I get pulled over, they want to search my car. And, I mean, I'm just like, no, it's a Fourth Amendment. And they're like, well, what do you got to hide and all this stuff? And I'm like, nothing. But, quite frankly, there's a rifle under the seat. It's totally legal, but it's not their business. I mean, I'm not leaving the scene of a crime. There's no probable cause. They don't need, but again, it's Justice Department standards. They want to make the police do illegal things, just like these warrantless blood draws and these tissue swabs, which they now admit are Justice Department funded to get ready for illegal checkpoints. They're priming the police, the public, all of us are being prepared for this.
But, yeah, I mean, even on some of the domestic violence incidents where I would split the parties up and one person would be violent, I would manage to calm them down. We'd had officers come in hot-headed, ready to rock and roll, and when I'd push them aside and say, let me get it, I got it, I would get approached by a supervisor and say, you look like you're a vegetarian. In this profession, there's a meat eater and a vegetarian. Are you a vegetarian? Of course not. I worked in a meat-eating department when I first got into law enforcement. I worked a place that this last department I was at wouldn't even want to work, so... yeah, I believe you're right. Law enforcement is getting more aggressive. I think a lot of them are being brainwashed in school, and they're just forgetting the way that this country used to be, and they're going along with exactly what the media is, brainwashing us to go. So
absolutely, God bless you. And the police are going to be discredited in this. I mean, look at Chris Christie selling out to Obama, and now the Justice Department's after him. I mean, there's no honor among thieves, and yeah, they think it's tough to beat somebody up for no reason. Or they think it's tough to be a thug and use too much force. That's not tough. I mean, it's like when you see a big guy starting to fight with a little guy. And I've seen that many times when I was in college going out with, girlfriends and stuff. I've seen it many times in life, and it really makes you mad when some big bouncer, and a lot of bouncers are not bad guys, but, the thug bouncers, are starting to fight with some little guy for no reason. It's like, wow, they picked a little guy to start a fight, and at an instinctive level, you want to climb up on top of him and beat the hell out of him. And so I mean, I'll be honest. I would never want to be a cop because if I came to somebody's house and there was a dead baby that had gotten into drugs and some scumbag piece of filth cussing at me and everything, I'd probably break their neck. So, I mean, I'm just saying, even I, in those situations, I've talked to multiple EMS people over the years. I had one of them work for me for years till he moved, and he told the story about how sometimes the EMS would attack people. Because, I mean, you get there, and there's a dead baby, and there's some guy going, I don't care, and then there's, like, drugs all over the place, and, you know, stuff like that happens, or some guy shot his family and is there when you get there still alive. I mean, you know, you want to break their neck. That's justice. 5,000 years ago, if the local tribe, somebody broke a baby's neck or something, and there wouldn't even be a trial. They'd get over there, he broke the baby's neck, the men of the village would just take you out, take a sword, right there, you'd be dead. I mean, that's normal, ladies and gentlemen. The problem is our society's so big, you got to have due process. And then the police get away with killing bad guys because everybody's like, oh, he fell in at his head because they deserve it. Then suddenly, oh, the guy didn't totally deserve it, but we like to kill people. And so, because, you know, once you get into that mode, folks, it's a bad situation. Pretty soon, some homeless guy, you just decide to go ahead and hit him with a billy club for no reason because he just halfway argued with you, and then he runs because he's scared, and then you go kill him. Well, I mean, you want to live in a culture like that? I mean, do you really want to live in... I mean, I've talked to Special Forces people about where they were in Afghanistan. Those were Navy SEALs, and this guy put gasoline on his son and daughter. One was like 3, one was 5, and lit them on fire to put the call in. And when the helicopter landed, it was 2 helicopters, and of course they'd land off the road thinking there could be an IED trying to lure them in. So you always land not in the best spot to land. You want to land in the worst spot or have guys rappel down. And they're getting these little burned little girls. But then they caught something was going on, and before he could detonate, they got it open. And I wasn't told what they did to him after that, and I'm not endorsing torture, but let's just say he did not die slowly. And it was because they were looking at these burned little kids. One of them lived, one of them died. But that's the type of stuff you deal with where you don't want to torture people, and torture isn't good, but somebody has hurt little kids like this, and so you start torturing someone. And that's why the globalists want to put our men in war, because even if you're a good moral person, it will change you. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I've been in over 200 fights, most of them when I was younger, so they weren't that intense, but probably 50, 60 or more, really hardcore, people going to the hospital fights. That has changed me. Just being in fights has made me where I'm, have a, just not even an appetite. It's like a place in my brain ready to get violent, not afraid to get violent. And that's actually a weakness, because somebody starts something with me, I got to really be humble and go, okay, yeah, okay. Yes, sir. I don't even smart off go, yeah, you're a tough guy. I just go, listen, let us just get on our way, all right? Because I don't want to, get in a fight. Because the problem is, if the person's really a badass, people are going to probably, come close to dying. Because then if they really start hurting me, it's rock and roll time, as they say. And that's the problem with what this society has turned into, folks, is that real men need to protect innocence, and they need to protect liberty. They don't need to run around acting like thugs, looking for a reason to hurt somebody because it's a notch on your belt. Let's talk to Pyro in California. Go ahead, Pyro, you're on the air.
How you doing, Alex?
I'm pretty good. What do you think about all this is happening?
Well, I'm here from California. I don't live too far along from Fullerton. That thing is just horrendous. And then those cops are nothing but thugs. I was in military police for 8 years. I never hit anyone. I was never that aggressive. I was practically people told me I should have been a cop. I said, no way, not in the civilian world, because it's a different animal. The police departments these days make you want to be a thug, and they hire thugs these days.
Is it all the departments or the big ones?
Mainly the big ones I've seen, because I was going to try to apply for LAPD. I have a few friends that are in LAPD, and they say it's nothing like that what we did in the Marine Corps. In the Marine Corps, when I was in military police, it was all, yeah, we had some problems, but it wasn't like too serious. But my main thing is how these cops have a much higher their bill of rights, their so-called bill of rights. It should be all one right for everybody. Not because you have a badge, you have some other certain rights that you're above us. That was not in the military. That was not, no matter if you're an MP or a regular soldier or infantry. It was one right for everybody.
And that's because if you've got a two-tiered system, society breaks down.
Exactly.
You can't have a military that works and have a multi-level system.
These cops should never been even cops, especially this Ramos guy. I've seen guys like him. They look for fights. I really hope his kids are proud of what he's done. It's ridiculous. And if these cops, I was listening to Larry Elder yesterday. He had his lawyer Leo Terrell, who was tracking the whole case. He's saying Leo Terrell said somewhere along the lines, these cops might even get their jobs back. Or
yeah, guys, call Larry Elder and let's get him on about this. Larry Elder's not supporting what happened, is he?
Oh, no, he's not at all. He's not at all. But he had this guy following the case by case. I was actually following the case through Larry Elder's broadcast.
Very interesting. Listen, we'll get Larry Elder back on. That's a good idea. We're out of time. Nightly News Tonight, 7 o'clock, with updates from Jakari and others on the West Coast on the radiation. Great job to the crew. Thanks to all the callers.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of southern Mexico.